Right, and we are live.
Oh, yeah.
So, welcome to the game 2, I think, of the... I don't know what you're doing, Rob, there. Occupy is the scenario I think he just tried to post then.
Oh, yeah.
So we have two of the Masters, the UK Masters held at Mantic's HQ in Nottingham. On the left of the screen is Rob Hudson using an Imperial Dwarf army, and on the right of the screen is Rich Luke using a Basilean army. I presume I pronounced that right. Joining me is an all-star-studded team of American commentators. So this one will probably be a lot slicker and a lot more entertaining than the first one, where it was just me and Steve Hildrew. We've got somebody waiting.
Oh, that might be Joey.
Wow. Joey.
Here comes everybody.
Hey!
Oh, there he is.
What's up, buddy?
There we
Bob,
go.
Can you find the layout picture
and
that
knocks the
makes,
screen out?
makes the table big but leaves our faces down the side so we can see each other?
Yeah, when I can't see like, I get all anxious. So it kind of helps me.
I can try.
Yep.
It's a beacon of light in the madness.
Yeah, that works.
There he is.
Let me just have a look.
So yeah, thanks for that one was perfect, Bob.
Is that the one? There we go.
Yeah, the one you just done was perfect.
Now we're back.
Yeah, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and it's gone again.
Oh, there we go.
Yep. Love it.
That's the one.
Yeah, so thanks for having us on, Bob. It's great to be here on Trolls of War, checking out the UK Masters. I'm Mike Adkins. You probably know me from Dash 28 related stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The rest of you can introduce yourselves now.
I know, right? I'll go next. I'm Mike Rossi. I fourth mic on the Unplugged Radio podcast, and I'm also here. I'm also a dwarf player, so I can actually speak intelligently about what's going on half the table.
And then I'm Brenton Williams. I'm not on a podcast. I'm not fourth mic of anything.
You should be.
But I am a recovering dwarf player, so I still have a special spot in my heart. And I played dwarves against filthy Basilia a lot in my life, sadly. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I'm really happy. It's 5 a.m. here, so if I sound a little odd, that's because I'm either trying to keep the kid from waking up, or that's just how I sound at 5 in the morning, apparently.
God bless you, dude.
You sound beautiful. It's going to be fine. I'm Mark Howard. I don't have any of the podcasts or anything like that, but what I lack in all those cool creative things is I just bring energy. So it's going to be great. We're going to work it out.
And I'm Joey. I just have a lot of opinions, so I'm here.
It's all going to work out.
Yep. Now I'm just alternating between coffee and this coffee beer. I think we're going to get there.
Yeah.
Double fisting it.
I know how, Mike.
Yeah, so this is awesome. So we've got a Basilean versus Dwarf matchup. So this is going to be speed on one side with a lot of flying stuff, and Elohi, and a whole lot of defense 6 on the other side.
A whole lot of defense.
This is one of those unstoppable force versus immovable object kind of matchups. And what scenario did you guys say they were playing?
Occupy.
Yeah.
So I pulled up the rules for that.
So on the left-hand side, as we're looking, we have Rob Hudson, and on the right-hand side, as you're looking at it, we've got Richard Luke.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, too. Normally, I don't really see many people run a low-high with the Crush 2 upgrade, but in this specific matchup, he's going to need it.
Agreed.
Because we've got, outside of them, I think, if I'm looking at this right, he's got Knights have Thunder 2, but he's only going to have probably his charge to try and break something with... He's going to be wounded on 5s quite a bit.
Right. So do we want to go over The lists for people that don't have them. I mean, if somebody ends up watching this in the future, right? Go over what's on in the dwarf list and on the.
Yeah, we can. Yeah,
Whoever
I have
does comprehension really good, get in there.
I have the dwarf list up.
go for it.
Yep. So Robert Hudson, he's got a Imperial dwarf list, lots of defense 6. Starts with 2 regiments of ironclad and a horde of ironclad. They all have throwing mastiffs, as you should. He has 2 hordes of earth elementals. He has a mastiff hunting pack he does not have throwing dogs on his dogs. 2 steel behemoths, a battle driller, a stone priest with Surge 8 and Bane Chant 2, Garrick Heavyhand, who is awesome, and we'll talk about him later, Faber Ironheart, who is also awesome, and 2 dwarf lords on large beasts. Comes in at 22 unit strength, 14 units.
Fantastic. And that is deploying over on the left there. Go ahead, Joey.
All right. I'll go over the Basilian list because I pulled that up. So Rich Luke, he's running Basilian, so he's got a regiment of men-at-arms swordsmen, 2 hordes of Alohi with the Crush 2 upgrade, so defense 4. 1 has elite, 1 has vicious. 2 regiments of paladin knights, 1's got healing brew. He's got an Abbess hero mounted with Rampage D3. Julius, Nias, and then he's got the Panther formation, which I don't see very often.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So a lot of fury chaff.
Right.
Yeah, very glad to see Julius though. He's a monster. I mean, literally, but you know what I mean.
Auto include, man. He's so good.
I kind of dig both of these lists.
Yeah.
My local Basilia player doesn't really run him. He's just been running a regular Alohi and just like a regiment of angels to just get the elite. So I just kind of forgot about him for a little bit and was like, oh, okay.
Right.
Took a lot of the sisters with archers.
Yeah.
They're really
That's
good.
14 drops on the dwarves for 22 unit strength and only 12 drops on the Basilean side for 25 unit strength. And Mike, did you say you pulled up the scenario rules?
Yeah, let me call those up. Okay, so it's Occupy. After choosing sides, place an objective marker in the exact center of the board. Then the players each place an objective marker completely within 6 inches of the center line, starting with the player who chose sides. These 3 objective markers are the secondary objectives. Next, the players place another objective marker on their opponent's half of the board, at least 6 inches from any board edge and 9 inches from the center line. These are the primary objectives. You get 1 point for the ones along the center line and 2 victory points if you can grab the one in your opponent's half of the table. Okay. So it's interesting. You're going to want to push up the middle, right, to grab the opponent, to grab that for the big win.
Right.
And one of these armies is going to be on the other side of the table on turn 2. The other one's going to go what happened.
Looks like they've rolled for first turn, and it looks like Rob has either won or Rich has let him go first.
Right.
So that means dwarves get to go first in a scenario that requires movement. That's kind of big.
That is big.
It's very nice.
Right. So we'll see if he takes the initiative and just pushes the line forward, right?
Yeah.
It's tough to tell. It's tough for me to tell exactly how his setup is, but he looks like he's got a line of. He's got his horde of ironclad dead center.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I think I see the steel behemoths. Are they together up top?
Yeah.
There?
Looks like they're together.
Which is fine. I mean, I've running them together works just fine.
Yeah. Yeah. You twin link those, and it's
just hold hands.
You can reach. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dudes up top are just yelling at each other, communicating about how great it is. It's actually
we're so tall up here. I can see everything.
Right.
It's interesting too because normally going first with dwarves, I'm used to seeing a lot more shooting, or at least long range shooting to
sharpshooters
back that up. Yeah, like sharpshooters and stuff like that. Like, and he doesn't. That combined with like Faber and some other things. I play against dwarves a lot, so I just get like assaulted constantly. But he doesn't have as much of that. Especially, I noticed he didn't take an upgrade with one of the steel behemoths for Goluk's Fury. So
I am surprised at that. It is for those 40 points. It
does a lot.
Oh my god! It's the very inspiring bubble and the Iron Resolve.
Yeah, it's
combined with Garrick. It's strong stuff.
I'm a little shocked at that. it's sort of just a strictly better steel behemoth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it could just be a points thing. Like started losing points. It's an expensive upgrade. I mean, it's nice though, but it's just going to be interesting. He gets to move and everything, but he's not really going to be doing much of any damage for the most part on turn 1 going
Right.
in. Which I mean, it's whatever. I mean, dwarves charge their whole army on turn 2, and they're like, "Good, we wanted you."
He's pretty lean on upgrades though. He's got dogs, but that's basically it, right? He put Banechan on a
Yeah.
stone priest, but like he's all boys before toys, so maybe that's why.
Absolutely. Yeah. Looks
Well,
like
it's
he's trying to
interesting
beef
too.
up.
Both of these lists, seemingly, if I'm looking at these right, like they both actually dumped quite a few points into characters, into like heroes choices.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of that running around, and then there's
Right.
going to just reiterate that he's using Faber Ironheart, and I see him in my nightmares.
And double dwarf on large piece.
Yeah. He's
double
what a
large
jugger
beast,
should
yeah.
be. Yeah.
He's
Right.
so brutal because when I first started playing against Faber Ironheart, I was like, maybe if people include him, whatever. He's defense 6, I get it. And then he started shooting me, and I was like, all right, this kind of sucks. But then when he started fighting me, and he's better in combat than he is in shooting, I was like, oh,
Right.
cool.
It's a world of difference between 5 attacks on the standard and 7 for him.
Absolutely,
You know, those 2 extra attacks actually make him worthwhile,
absolutely. So
and the 2 nerve.
A lot of square base nimble on
there he
the
goes, just chugging
A
along.
lot of square base. Yeah, this is at breakneck speed for a dwarf army. He's making his way across the table. Glancing over at what he's lined up against, I see a lot of blue wings here towards the bottom of the table, so I'm guessing we're seeing Julius all the way here on the extreme flank closest to us.
Yep.
And the Elohi
All right.
nearby.
Those-
So does that mean he put all the Panthers and shit all the way at the other flank?
That's what it looks like. And if I don't know, if I was Rob, I would just run up and say, who cares? Come get it. Right?
What else are you going to do at this point? He has so much threat. He has so much threat like 10 and threat 16, stuff like that, where like, yeah, you just run up and just go, all right.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't do it with the Elohi on the first turn, but I would certainly move the other stuff and try to entice the Panther Wing to move up, or you know, at least force him to move up and try to take the flank, because you know that's what he's going to try to do.
Oh yeah,
right.
But there's tokens also on that flank. There's 2-point tokens up there, so if he just leaves the Panthers until turn 5, they can just go grab it.
Yeah, I mean, but
that's true.
Without shooting though, he deployed more towards this like right flank, which he probably kind of had to do instead of stretching out all the way across the board. Especially just speed 4 as a base.
Well, let's see. I mean, if he's got the 2 steel behemoths over there, he's got the shots from those. They're 12 inches plus 4 effective range of 16, and he's putting out 30 shots between the 2 of them.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and they're steady aim, right?
Something. Yeah, they're steady aim now.
Yeah, so they'll be doing some damage once he gets into that.
Right.
Yeah, and I think if I'm just trying to see my image here of watching this is a little grainy.
Yep.
But I think he has a horde in that forest in the middle, a horde of the earth elementals.
Yep.
And they'll hold up to just about anything for a turn.
Well, their earth elementals make sort of like naturally amazingly good flank guards.
Yeah.
Anything that does jump around them or get extra tricky, they have surge to sort of cover for movement mistakes.
Yeah, it's really nice.
They have Pathfinder, so they're happy to sit in terrain for protection, but can charge out.
Yeah, they love it.
Without completely losing their offensive power. They are a anvil, not a hammer, so when they come charging out, they still don't hit that hard. But with sort of built-in brutal now and a couple other things, they hit harder than they used to.
Right.
So they've always been an amazing sort of like flank pivot to just sort of sit over there on their own, charge anything that tries to jump over them, and just sort of hold. Perfect refused flank tool.
Oh yeah. There's very few times you'll ever like see someone's list and they're like, "What do you think?" And you're like, your first thing's like, "Oh, maybe you should take out the Earth Elemental horde." Nobody says that.
Right.
Two
of
them
but
is
I'm
a
not
little...
exactly sure what's going on here. Right.
A little bit of shooting. It looks
He's
like.
probably shooting with Faber Ironheart. If I had to, I think it's probably the only thing in range.
Little clink shooting on the right hand side, and he's done. Yep.
There we go.
So that's going to take us to the bottom of turn 1.
There you go.
Over to Basileia.
So it looks like he's got knights behind Julius, and those were Panthers touching the hill that were getting shot.
Yep.
It's interesting. The dwarves they aren't fully lined up. It's going to be. I'm curious if Julius is going to get some flanks because of this.
I noticed that.
Yeah, I mean, with moving up at this point with so much speed, charge 20, I guess he can kind of get in there if he wants to right now.
Not this turn, but like if Julius just parks himself right at the hill and looks down, he's going to have to start turning back inwards.
Right.
No Julius.
And this is the Basilian sort of main plan of this list is pretty straightforward, which is it combos the Aloha's ability and Julius's ability to give elite on the charge with a bunch of stuff that goes either almost as fast or just as fast as them and likes to charge.
Super, super strong on Paladin Knights.
Right.
For that combo. They're pretty awesome.
And with Julius being a smaller base size, he combos even easier in tighter spaces, or as Joey was rightly pointing out, tricky flanks. And then the idea is you hit a couple key things hard enough, and then when they come back, you are still defense 5 or defense 6, and are kind of laughing off that counterattack.
Yeah, in his case, defense 6. Good God.
Seeing a lot of usage of these handy movement sticks out there. That's kind of cool.
You love to see it.
I do. They're not super popular here in the States, but I do see some people using them.
I just got my new pack last week for $10. Great.
I wonder if they're bigger in the UK than they are here.
Yeah. Well, with my group, we came pretty much from War Machine, where you need those to exist. So a lot of us are just used to using them. They're pretty great.
More movement sticks than painted models was always my experience in War Machine.
Oh, dude, yeah. And I mean, you go playing a giant national tournament for that, and some guy would show up and he'd be like, "Oh, here's my Warcaster," and I'm like, "Is his shield glued to his chest?" He's like, "Yeah, it's there. Figured it out." You're like, "Okay." I don't care.
So this is going to be the kind of when you have movement ranges that long, you're just sort of micro moving.
Yeah, it's just inch it along.
Slightly repositioning and then pushing hard on the other side.
Yeah.
The thing I worry on around the dwarves, and maybe it's not that big a worry, especially if you're hitting Sisterhood some of the time, but there's not a lot that really does damage. It's attrition. So
I don't know what that just said.
Let's say we are watching you.
I hope not.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to really guard myself now.
I hope they're not listening to us.
You're gonna guard yourself. I'm gonna send them a link to my OnlyFans. But
given how
no, the speaker's turned off in there.
Okay.
Probably
I
better this way.
was going to say, given how how pixelated the camera is, it's possible we're watching them on a 30-second delay. So anything we tell them is going to be.
We are watching you. Oh, yeah, it says that.
Watching us.
Cool.
Yeah. The only thing I think he really has to worry about with
Good luck, both of you.
Is the 17-inch threat of the behemoth guns. It's probably the only thing he really has to overly measure out. Faber's going to shoot you anyway already. So.
Faber's going to shoot you anyway. He's got enough soft targets on the Basilean side that the behemoths can pick one off.
Oh yeah.
Usually with Basilea, some scattered light shooting you don't care about because you figure you'll iron resolve enough of it. But if both steel behemoths open up on a unit, you're going to be in trouble.
Especially at this point because he took the Crushing Strength 2 upgrade on the Aloha. Now they're defense 4, so I mean, wounding on 3s against them ain't bad.
Yeah. I believe that is a clock switch, perhaps. So this is probably top of turn 2.
No magic, no shooting, no clock trouble.
Yeah. Yep. Now we look at all those. So you're 19 inches away, huh?
There's also going to be a lot of positioning from the dwarf player here with their sort of staggered line, because like we know this is sort of the advantage of being the dwarf in this situation is the Basilian players paid for a lot of speed, and they only needed to be 5 inches movement, basically. They have a ton of speed that will allow them to jump some of the shooting range, so sort of stay out of the shadow of that shooting until they're ready. But for the most part, the dwarf player knows they're being charged, and it's just going to line up in a way that receives that as well as they can. So let's see how good the dwarf player is at dressing their line for the charge, because that's what's happening.
Yeah, and really, I'm more interested to see how he's going to move up and utilize his 3 units with the throwing mastiffs. If he's
Yeah, can he even get throw? Yeah, can he get close enough to throw them before he gets hit? And
you
are
only
you
do range what 16 with that effectively with move?
Yeah, it's 16.
Yeah, and he's so much speed 10. So I'd be interested to see if he's staying right outside of that and going, I'll charge next turn and try not to let the throwing mastiffs go off.
Yep. So you're basically just trying to deny double charges on regiments and triple charges on hordes and position your large beasts so they can counter strike.
That's
so that
it.
They can stay just out of charge range and counter punch.
Yeah, and make it so that I don't know. When I do it, I try to make it so that the other guy can't. I give him a unit to charge. So this unit's within 18. Go ahead, send everything in. But all these other units, you can only reach it with one of yours.
Now, what we have is clear. What he has his hand on, is that probably the battle driller? That little base?
Oh, the other dwarf
I
lord.
think that's the other.
Oh, it's the other dwarf lord.
Dwarf lord. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm starting to see. I'm just working through it.
Yeah, right. So I don't know. The funny thing is, I don't know where Garrick Heavyhand is, and he's a key piece in the dwarf line because he can hold up a unit all day. You just throw him in, and he'll just hang out, right?
Well, he doesn't. From what I can see, he doesn't look like he's near the bottom. He's probably somewhere in the middle.
Yeah,
He's
but
probably
like,
still the human.
hiding in the shadows.
He's the
Waiting
famous
for Mount
Garrick
Power
Heavyhand
someone.
dwarf assassin. That just chops you to death with a giant meaty hand.
Hands.
The thing that's interesting here, Mike, is that like you're describing Garrick Heavyhand, but it's almost like his entire battle line is a bunch of Garrick Heavyhands that can be described as like takes a punch, gonna sit there all day, hard to kill, doesn't have a ton of offensive output. He sort of went through the list and picked all of those.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he tried to make up for it with mainly the battle driller and the 2 dwarf lords. I mean, Garrick Heavyhand, he has 5 attacks and he is rush 3, but he only has 5 attacks. He's never getting more.
Right.
Yeah, like
So
they'll all grind, but even the dwarf lords are anvils running around. That's their power.
I always forget that they're not Crush 2 Thunder 1, they're Crush 1 Thunder 2.
Yeah.
So
it's a sad thing?
Is that the battle driller that he's kind of throwing out to sacrifice there?
Oh God, I hope
I see.
not.
Yeah.
So putting that there and then moving the horde up behind, I guess that probably breaks it up so you can't fit 3 units on the horde, right?
Living the dream. Well, yeah, I mean, with
maybe
10 guys may as well.
But it's an individual.
So you can overrun through
just
it,
kill
right?
it and overrun it. That's the problem with.
It's
if
cap
there is a
model.
problem with it, that's the problem with the battle driller.
Well, what is that
Right.
dude then?
I wish
Just
that
kill
battle
it and
driller
roll a
were a
one, and then
monster
don't
that had
do it.
big shield.
Yeah. I don't see anything else that's on a long cab type based. Maybe he has measured very carefully.
So this is that situation where, at least I always feel, when you are the aggressor in this situation, you're looking for a soft, like, I imagine it like Saving Private Ryan at the beginning, where they're all going up against
Saving
this.
Private Ryan already.
They're going up against this wall, and everyone is searching for that like Dog Beach exit right here. Like they're trying to find that one spot that's soft, they can hit, and then kind of break the entire battle line up and start to either, in a traditional classical sense, flood through that gap. But Kings of War, you very rarely get through the gap. You just sort of turn left and right and start Pac-Manning units.
Right.
Yeah, right on. All right, that was better. I thought you were going to be like, in this situation, this guy's Vin Diesel in the sniper scene. Like, this is rough. Rough out here.
That's later. That's turn 6.
Well, that's Julius. Julius is the sniper.
Yeah. Can Faber Ironheart be Tom Hanks?
Garrick.
Holding Garrick's hand at the end, telling him, earn this.
That's right.
But the question is, like, I don't know. He's sort of correctly identified and is trying to protect his horde because that's what I would see as the soft center, right?
Yeah.
It's weird to say a defense 5 horde of infantry is a soft center, but in this dwarf line, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. So
Yeah,
Right.
and that horde is, even with like dwarves, they're still just a defense 5 unit, not one of the defense 6. So having 21, 23 is pretty rad, but
Right.
you get 2 to 3 units into it, it's like who gives a
Right.
shit?
It's wide enough to get triple charged. That's all that means.
And if one of those chargers is Julius, you're like, cool, glad.
Yeah.
And he comes with dread too, I believe.
It's rather good.
And then he has that. I also forgot he has that cavalry character that I can't pronounce the name of.
Nice.
Nias Salustis.
There you go.
Nias is great.
Totally not Roman.
Totally not right. Yeah, Freddie. Yeah, you could tell all the people who took Latin in high school because we look at it and we're like, that's not hard to pronounce. I know exactly what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody else is like, Gennady. No.
I did all kinds of shit in high school, but Latin was not one of them.
I took Latin because I figured that like the beauty of taking Latin in high school is you know that you will never have to actually remember or speak any of it to anyone ever when you're put on the spot. Because like you take any other language, one day you might find yourself confronted with a native speaker of, and your friends are all like, "You could talk to that guy," and you're like,
Native speaker.
"No." Right.
I get nothing, I'll try.
Whereas with Latin, you can just fake most of that shit. If people ask you what's on the dollar bill, you just make up something that sounds old timey, and people are like, "That's cool.
Right.
That's rad." What's on the
I like
state
that-
flag?
I like that you decided the beauty of the language is that it could never be practical.
Yes, it is dead.
It's glorious.
Like I will never
Right.
be pressured to flirt with this. So yeah, let's go with that one.
Especially when you're a young person in high school, you're just like, this is going to work out. I don't need this. Not really.
Yeah.
Right.
Like this is where I want to be.
I've learned some cool sounding phrases that I can repeat when I'm playing D&D to pretend like I'm casting spells and be the coolest guy at the table. And yes, I realize I just said the coolest guy at a table of kids playing D&D in high school. But like that was me.
That's how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Any advantage you can get, buddy. Not to refute your claim, but I took 3 years of Latin in high school, went to college, and my college roommate had also taken Latin in high school, and I was like, "What are the chances?"
Did you guys just get drunk and just yell Latin at each other from what you
No,
remember?
no. We found that it wasn't as useful as we thought it was going to be. But because if you say something in Latin, someone you know Spanish goes, "You're talking. I know what you're saying. Cut the shit." Right.
Mhm.
But if you learn sign language, you can talk about people in front of them. If they don't know sign language, that's a good one. Or across a bar.
I pretend I know sign language in the right situation. It's fine.
Well, I was about to make a sign language thing with my hand. That doesn't count.
That's fair.
There you go.
Any other Bene Gesserit skills you learned, Mike Rossi?
I don't want to use the voice online. I don't know what it'll do to the camera.
That's fair.
Right.
So it looks like he's just kind of moving these guys up and turning
He's
him.
got the
just
bloodline
to
chart in
that
his other
flank.
room.
It is. Put your hand in the box, Brandon. It's a pain in there.
Yeah, I mean, as a door player, you get to go first against an army that's this fast. You're like, sweet, I get to be where I'm going to be for the rest of the game at the end of the first turn, instead
Yeah.
of not making it off the starting line. But like,
It
you
is-
can't really go anywhere from turn 2 on.
It is very nice. As somebody who played 6 zombie legions for a year and a half, going first is real cool when you're like, I'm going to move my 5. I was like, I'm going to get to the center of the board. Welcome to hell.
Yeah.
I did it.
Chew through this.
Now this looks like the dwarf line I was expecting.
Yeah.
Does someone have a
Yeah.
better view of this that can see the steel behemoths? Whether or not they have. I mean, it looks like they're measuring some stuff out, but it feels like the steel behemoths earlier on were angled sort of at the part of the Basilian line that could be the most stretched out and avoid them.
Right.
And avoid that shooting instead of sort of being pointed right like a dagger at the heart of
Yeah, I
the
think they're over
Basilians, sort
there,
of pushing
face
the
to the
pace.
left. Near the, I think they're right there below the forest, facing towards the things incoming on his flank a little bit.
Yeah, and I think
Oh wait,
I mean-
either that or one went that way and the other one's still in the front.
okay,
Can
because
we, like, I wonder if we can just Venmo someone that's on location, be like, "Can you handheld this, man? Get in there."
Or pick it up. Pick it up about a foot
yeah,
higher
just
and point it
grab
down.
just whatever.
So are those his mastiffs that he's pushed out in the middle of the table?
Yeah.
I'd have to imagine that's what they're there
Yeah.
for, without throwing mastiffs.
And hopefully you put them
Right.
Well,
Looks like he's continuing to shoot at those screening Panthers here down at the bottom.
Yeah, I just think there's an advantage for Basilia if they can sort of sit in a position and line up what they want or jump over back, and you really want those steel behemoths at that point just able to shoot, able to threaten.
Without the normal shooting presence that I'm used to seeing with dwarves, this does make it so he can very, very much just choose where he's going to go eventually. I don't know what turn he's going to pull the trigger, but when it happens, it's going to be a lot.
The sort of secret alpha strike thing is the later you pull the go button or press the go button, the better you usually are.
Yeah.
Like if you can actually charge them all on like turn 4 or 5, you've probably put yourself in an amazing position and strangled the life out of your opponent already. And as the slower person, you are constantly trying to put some kind of clock on them that forces their hand, makes them give up resources, trade, go early. And usually that is shooting or some kind of pressure.
Right.
And I'm not saying this dwarf army needs more shooting. I just wish the steel behemoth shooting was sort of pointed right at something important.
And just starting and just I'm going to move up and fire, 24 shots into you.
right.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
Understandable.
So I think have we progressed to the bottom of turn 2 here? It looks like
I believe
I think he's moving up
so.
there.
yeah. Rob is prepping sets of dice to roll later, anticipating that shit's about to go down.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And
Like you were kind of saying, it's not like a bad dwarf list because it doesn't have as much shooting as we're used to seeing. It's just in this specific matchup, it's interesting to see that because of this, he just happened to get paired up round 1 against a bunch of speed 10 things.
Right.
You're like, okay. Well,
No, that's fine. It's more about like you have a limited set of shooting resources, which is your like repeatable shooting, which is Faber and your steel behemoths.
Right.
And the 3 of those together can drop an Alohi horde in a round.
yeah, but they're not. I don't think they're all.
They're not in the right spots.
Same stuff. Yeah.
And that's where it's like that being spread out against Iron Resolve
Right.
just feels like a potential missed opportunity. Like I understand he put the steel behemoths where he did at sort of an elbow in his battle line. I just think he's in a position where the Basilia is best able to avoid that shooting.
Right. And I still can't tell from the picture on the right side of the table past the house. Is there a couple? Are there a couple units there between the house
I
and
think that's actually if I'm looking at this, I think that's
the
where the
woods?
formation went, basically.
I think there is something between them, between the house and the forest.
maybe like the swordsman. or
Oh,
something.
there is. Yeah, they're up on
Yep.
they're up on
The
that.
swordsmen are
there,
behind the knights down at the bottom.
Yeah, no, the swordsman is down
behind
this way.
them.
I'm just
Yeah.
wondering why.
Loki?
Like, yeah, if I was on the left, I would have turned and pushed up more aggressively on
with
the left
the greater
with the greater earth elementals and the ability to because
Yeah, absolutely.
anything over there isn't going to break them, and then you can do the surge shenanigans.
Well,
and just own that section of the table, right?
If that is the formation though up top there, that is a little bit more tricky too though because they charge 20. But I was just looking at the list here just to notice they do have like Pathfinder and they have Nimble, so they can kind of just like
okay.
go past you, which is annoying.
Yeah.
But at least the Earth Elementals are height 3. But now he looks like he might be on a hill.
He's on the hill now, yeah.
Yeah, that's rough.
This is where, the refused flank gets a little tricky. Which is he's sort of moved up, he's bent his line slightly to cover, and now if he tries to move out any further to challenge or advance against it, he creates those angles for the units in the middle or even the units on our near side to charge diagonally across and pick them out. So he's kind of in this, like, he's in his shell. Anything wider starts to open up those little elbow gaps. And here we go.
there we
Go
go.
button.
There's the charge.
Go,
Wow,
but
Panthers have gotten out of the way to let the knights out. That's our first charge of the game.
It looks like they charged into a regiment of ironclad.
Yeah.
So if you are going to murder something, that's another soft target. But you can't multi-charge because of the base sizes.
Yeah, but now it's time to just send everything.
Well, that's it. If you're going to send one, send them all.
You have to cap off those other units and not
Yeah, I don't
give
know.
yourself an
Yeah,
easy flank.
I wouldn't half go in on this if he's going. Go.
Yeah.
No.
This
So
would
for
be
those of
fine,
you
but
who-
I feel like the Panthers need to be covered to the side, not
Yeah.
girdling by a hill.
Yeah.
So
Agreed.
just charge
For those
that
of
away.
you who joined since we got rolling, you are watching round 2 of the 2023 UK Kings of War Masters. It is round 2 at the tournament, and you are watching Rob Hudson versus Rich Luke. Rob is over on the left playing dwarves, and Rich is on the right playing Basileia, and we are in the bottom of turn 2 when Alpha Strike starts doing its thing.
Oh yeah. We've been really getting a nice view here this turn of Rich's arm hair, and it's magnificent. It really is. So, yep, it's working out for me today, I'll tell you. I'll tell you. So, all right. So, is he still okay? He's still thinking. I was like, he's not done charging with me.
No. I think he's the Alohi horde in the back, just on the toe of the hill in the
I think we're
back.
going to see.
Is that
I'm
a low?
assuming-
That's nice. I think
No,
it's a low high in the ironclad there.
Yeah.
Hard to tell.
Is that the Abyss hero that just went into the mastiffs in the center of the table? I think.
Probably
I'm
because it's
trying
mounted.
I'm trying to think. I think the Alohi are both next to each other on that hill. I think the thing touching the back of the hill, weirdly enough, if I had to guess, that might actually be the Men-at-Arms swordsman.
Oh,
I think so.
oh
and
yeah.
he just has some ruins behind him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
got it. Yep.
Pretty sure that's a big ruin in the background.
Yeah.
Here
Every
comes
Basilia player I
Alohi.
play against always has awesome ass modeling stuff on the back of their stuff and everything. It's great.
Sure.
Handholds.
I don't think that dwarf lord on large beast that's right down here next to the table edge is going to be so tempted by that Gur Panther flank that he's not going to try to hit these knights next turn.
I think he got charged by Julius right now.
Yeah, Julius is.
No, Julius is in his face.
Oh, Julius is his face.
Yeah,
Julius
so
is
that's
on him.
yeah,
just
so
climbed
that's how
inside
he
him like a tauntaun.
right. Real small, fits right in there and stops the flank movement. So
And if y'all don't like that movie reference, you're not going to like the rest of them.
I thought these things smelled bad, etc.
Round 3 is when we're going to break into RoboCop. Get ready.
I will buy that for $1.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah, my early morning thing is that the Crow is just goth RoboCop,
That's my favorite.
and I'm perfectly okay with that. So we've just started calling him Crowbocop as a combined franchise.
Well, Brendan, you just
That's amazing.
you just changed my life probably for the next 48 hours. Can't unthink that. Now I have a lot on my mind here.
I'm just trying to picture what his internal heads-up display would look like. It would have to look like a black metal album cover font.
It would look like a Sisters of Mercy album.
Yeah, exactly.
I just imagine like the scene where he breaks into the pawn shop and stabs the dude in the hand and just says "Think again, creep." I would just love to see that. Love to see it. All right, we are so far not looking like we're charging with the
Yeah,
other.
wow, he is thinking. There's a lot of thinking going on. Guys, I'm at a loss. I usually don't do that when I play.
I mean, on a turn like this where you're like, I guess we're going, there's like thinking, but you're normally decided to be like, we're going. Like, we're
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, the question here is, so he's charged in with one thing. He's charged in at the bottom of the line.
Mm-hmm.
He has one opposing unit below him. Is that one capped off? Like towards the camera?
Yeah, so the
The
It
large
looks like-
beast is charged by
Yeah,
Julius.
yeah, the King on Large Beast is stuck. The regiment.
And then what's above the knights?
It looks like
Another
another regiment of
regiment.
ironclad.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
So the
And
idea there is you pop the one regiment, hopefully,
Wow.
and then you don't care. You have one regiment of
So we're
dwarves
We're
looking to
definitely
fight
thinking
your
those
knights.
are knights right above Julius, right?
Yeah.
It could be
Yeah,
Panther
yeah.
Monsters, like that.
But not in the same combat as an angel, so they don't have a lead.
True.
I don't think he's going to break him.
Well, we've got a 14-16, and he's going to be wounding on 3s. So he's going to... Oh, he only has 16 attacks. Hey.
Yep.
But
He's
Julius
gonna
will
get
add
maybe-
dread, right?
10,
Yep.
Yeah, he will. So we're probably looking at like 10 or 11 hits, and then wounding on 3s. So probably like 6, 7 wounds, and then dread with 8. So he's probably looking at roughly 8 twice.
He needs
Six,
7
six
serrated
to
twice.
waver, 8 to kill.
Yeah.
headstrong.
I mean,
It's not.
It's not great because even if he wavers them, the flank charge is still there.
Yep.
Unless I mean, he's still obviously in the moving phase, so he could still
Those
pull the
could
trigger.
be Panther Lancers, though, and he just doesn't care about them because it's
Yeah.
dwarves and they're not.
Ah, that's also true.
Oh, yes.
I just
Good.
I myself have not played with Sicilians, so I don't know if he has the formation all the way up there on top because I don't know if you'd want to run them all together or not. I'm not very familiar with them.
You definitely have one of the Panthers down bottom, so it could be the Panther Lancers giving Fury bottom and then up top.
Right.
I don't know.
Yep. And then
Alright,
the other
so
thing is I believe they're in terrain, so that flank charge is still going to be,
Hitting on
I
5.
couldn't
24
tell if-
attacks
okay.
on 5.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's just
So
a
is that
hill,
like
though, isn't
typical
it?
terrain? No, because I think
I think
that hill.
No, it's a hill. That's a hill.
Is it? So they have 3 hills?
I think so.
No, they shouldn't have 3 hills.
I can't handle this.
I think. But I do see 2 other clumps of trees, and I feel like they want to.
Right, but
Yeah,
you'd
but
also
there's
have
area
you'd
terrain.
You'd have your 2 area terrains if
Maybe
we're
it's
compelling by that.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I'll check the map just a moment.
Thanks.
Oh, yeah, good idea.
I mean, it could just it could not be. I don't know. I looked briefly at the first map and saw the circle of terrain on the outskirts for round 1, and I was already like broken at that point.
Yeah, there's a big dead zone in the middle of this table, too.
Yep.
All right.
I've just been looking at
So-
terrain so much differently since recently. I've just been playing 5-blade stalkers in Silverkin.
All right. So I think
Nice
we're
change.
watching the abbess going after the dogs in the middle of the table. So it looks like
Yeah.
the regiment is still there, and of course the dwarf lord on large beast is still there. We would
Wow.
expect Julius to kill him in one turn.
I also didn't expect him just to send those units in.
So we
Wow.
still. I'm looking at this right. We're still seeing the 2 angels up near the hill, right? And he did not.
Yeah.
Slow approach. I mean, if those aren't the knights that he sent in to that 1 unit of Ironclad, and it's just like a unit of the Panther Lancers, I mean, he's just starting an engagement, protecting Julius to hopefully 2-round that Lord, and then maybe he'll pull the trigger next turn.
Yeah.
With the idea being that he gets Julius to turn the flank from the
Yeah.
maybe.
And just
Yeah.
he flies. He's height,
And now,
not awful.
jeez, oh man.
I wouldn't
Yeah,
do
for
that
the
with
record, they're sitting in
Panthers,
what
though.
on the map would be a pond or
Okay.
low
Yeah,
okay.
difficult
Got it.
terrain.
So that makes sense.
So
Yeah,
the 2
also-
hills are the 2 things. This is going to
Yeah.
sound a little jerkish, and I'm not trying to, but it's the 2 things that look like hills, which is our near bottom right corner and then our far top left.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes
okay.
sense. You're not sounding
There we
jerkish,
go.
dude. There's 50-50. I even know where I am most of the time.
So he
it's all
sends he sends the king on large beast into the flank and the dogs,
good. Ooh,
See?
okay.
right?
See, I
There it
told you
is.
that Panther Lancer flank was just too juicy to let slip. He had to take it.
Yeah, and he
Okay.
sends.
So this is going to be top of turn 3 then.
And the dwarves are charging, not even counter charging. What is happening?
Life is a mystery.
Got the jump on him.
And it looks like the abbess did not clear the dogs in the middle of the table.
I'm actually not surprised. The dogs have a low defense, but they're they have a
Yep.
13
Now-
nerve.
This would be. I don't know if they're wavered or not. I actually don't even also know if they're playing with withdrawal or if it would matter. That would be an awesome opportunity to try and move them back and use some of your throwing mastiffs finally if they're around.
Agreed.
Just ignore that individual rule and be like,
Wow.
suck nerd.
Even if they're not using the withdrawal rule, you can still disengage. Correct.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you can
It
still
just
do
might
that
be
trick.
easier if he's not wavered to try and get away in some way. I don't know.
Yeah. Because I actually think I would stay there, move up. Because the dogs don't care. They always hit on 4s, and they can see him because he's tall.
Oh
Right.
yeah, because he's height 3. Never mind that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's height 3.
just, if you're not using your mastiffs though, if he does start breaking through the Basilians here and there late game, he could just throw dogs if he doesn't keep getting charged everywhere, which is kind of cool. I've never really seen that happen. Normally, they just
Nah,
move up
I
and-
mean, it's because it doesn't.
Exactly.
Like,
there you go. That's fair. This is a
It-
point taken.
I mean, like, I think I've seen it once as like the random hero play where you're like, well, wait a minute, I still have dogs, and you've got a hurt regiment on this objective, and then you throw the dogs and you do 2 damage, and they don't actually die. And
That's
And
exactly
you
it.
just kind of accept that. You stare into your opponent's eyes. He already knows.
It's mainly that you find yourself with very few disordered turns, or
That's the problem.
at that point, like you want to be. At least for me, I found that later in the game, your charges is the best way to move a dwarf unit around the board.
They are not playing withdraw.
You need that double
Okay.
move.
I just
Yep.
know the next GT&R area is Pilgrimage, and they're not doing withdrawal, so I've just been playing without it to kind of not get into the habit of not trying to do that.
Oh, they're not? Good to know.
Yeah.
I signed up for that, so I should probably practice that.
Yeah, Marcelo said that since that's not the recommended rule, he's not going to do it. But I think
He's
every
pretty
other
much
Mid-Atlantic
doing no
tournament is
optional
going
rules.
to. Yeah, he's doing no optionals. But I think every other Mid-Atlantic tournament is going to do how the Masters, the U.S. Masters is going to do it, which is no allies.
Play in the gym.
Yes to withdraw.
But yeah, it's been interesting not playing with withdrawal and with, like I said, playing Sylvankin. My 2 tree herders have been excellent.
Oh, he's got his flank just hanging out there.
He's just
on that
around.
horde of Ironclad, just
with
hanging
angels
out
on a hill. That doesn't seem great.
right?
With the angle, if you put that out, he might still be in the front.
So is that the battle driller that he put up there next to the Mastiffs, or is that one of the other dwarf characters that he stuck out there?
Man, I can't tell.
I hope it's his little individual on foot dude.
It may be fake or
it might be.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, it could be that. He could survive a charge from one of the Elohi, probably sick.
That would make way more sense as a unit to break up a triple charge against a horde as a defense 6 character with dash 14 or something.
And I can't quite tell
14,
the angle
16.
that he's facing, right? But you got to assume that he's checking for flank charges against the Elohi on the hill.
That's what I would imagine. Like, if we're there, he's probably doing that. And Faber is really good too because he's not an individual. So if they kill him, they don't get to overrun.
Right, kind of hanging out.
Yep. Very nice.
Great success. Oh, don't back up. What are you doing?
I'm
sure he has. Sure, he has a great reason for doing it. I'm just. Right? Just don't back up. You fought for that ground.
Panthers on the hill.
Right?
Starting to look at them.
Yeah, they've taken that commanding position of whatever cav that is on the far side, charging down the hill, probably with Pathfinder. And the idea here is that you just keep stretching around that side, trying to force him to give a flank to you on one side or the other.
It is kind of horrific too that he's kind of turned with the Earth Elementals, which is cool. But now we're at this weird point I'm starting to notice where the Elohi are in the middle of the table, so you're trying not to get flanked by what he's bringing up at the top of the table, but you have to look out for them the entire time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of like when you
that might even be why he held him back.
It's that thing when you hear you're sort of like just do a refused flank, and it's like, well, if you don't have some other pressure or scenario push or something happening, they can eventually just wrap all the way around you and start to put you in uncomfortable positions.
Living the dream. We're backing up with the Earth Elementals right now too.
This is the dance where every time he pivots towards one unit, he realizes he's opening up a gap towards one on the other side.
Yeah, which I guess that could just be for angles purposes. I mean, if that is the formation up on the hills, they're not going to care about the terrain or anything because they have Pathfinder. But really nice if they get the Thunder 2. I mean, wounding on 4s against Earth Elementals, but take what you can get.
Mm-hmm. But then there's a certain amount from these dwarves where, for single units or units that aren't the killers, aren't the Elohi or the Knights, you might not care. Like they can hit you.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. He went first, so the scenario is going to force him right now. Probably by about turn 5, he's going to realize, I got to move somewhere.
I got to move forward. Yep.
Right, and so because right now, the Basilian player owns the 2-point objective on the far side of the table. Yeah, for all intents and purposes, right? And so
is that near the forest up there? Is that what I'm seeing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's because of where the dwarves are, at any moment, the Basilian player just sticks to the entire front of that line.
Oh yeah.
So if the dwarf player waits too long, then he just has an army stuck to the front of him, and
Right.
just behind that army are the objectives
All
they're
the
fighting
points.
over.
Yep.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
So I don't think that's going to happen. I think the dwarf player, it's masters, they should be good enough to see this and be proactively pushing against that. But if it does get to that turn 4, turn 5,
Oh.
Yeah.
it's a problem.
I can also see, like, I can still understand the playing cautiously when fighting an army like this, especially because it's masters. Like, there's so much threat, and you're just trying not to get to that point where you accidentally don't see something and you get caught out in your flank, and like your battle line just collapses in the middle. You're like, cool,
Yeah.
can't wait for turn 4.
Yeah, sort of like one flyer is annoying, 2 flyers is really annoying, 3 flyers starts to be high level geometry.
Yeah,
and
and
then
then even the
3
things that aren't
flyers
flyers. You're like,
yeah,
oh,
3
well, these guys are
flyers
speed 10
plus
nimble. You're like, great.
Panther Lancers means you're the Gwyneth Paltrow meme.
Which they're
just
not
looking
like
at
super
things.
horrific because they hit on 4s, but still.
All right, we're rolling some dice. That these might be steel behemoths shooting, maybe.
I hope so.
No, not enough dice.
Not enough dice.
I think.
And I would
I
be
think-
shocked if
Against
they.
Faber.
I think he threw throwing masters from the
Ah,
ironclad horde
That's
into
what
the.
I like to see.
There
There's
you
some
go.
dogs.
There you go. Dogs on
Tackle
dogs.
and fuel.
And whatever that is that he moved up, probably Faber gets to shoot him as well,
Mhm.
which is interesting. Which means he's facing almost forward,
Yeah,
probably giving his flank to that Elohi horde.
Oh boy.
but he is still an individual, right? Or is he a monster?
He's a monster.
Oh,
He's
he's
in
a
a 40
monster.
mil. He's in a 40
Okay.
mil. Well, he's large infantry.
Okay.
One of my friends just messaged me. He's like, I was not prepped for that Crow Robocop statement this early in the morning. That's good.
Quality analysis.
That's beautiful.
It's still dark outside here, so perfect crow weather.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
It's scary to say once you said that, it got darker here. But, yeah. I get in there. All right.
Looks like fighting is happening.
Just fighting it
Yeah.
out.
There we go. This is on
Probably the flank attacks up there.
no, this is on the
I'm trying to figure out with Julius's 8 attacks. I couldn't see how many wounds went on that Dwarf Lord, but now that he lost his Thunder 2, it's just a matter of time, probably.
It's a matter of time.
That. But is that going to happen in next turn he kills him, or the turn after?
Nah,
Very
it's gonna
interesting.
takes 3 turns.
Takes 3 turns, defense
Even
6.
with Julius because of the 17 nerve.
Yeah, well, yeah, even with Crush 3.
Right.
He does have Elite, though. That's pretty rad.
It's awesome.
It looks
So
like
it looks
he did
like-
not kill
It's
whatever
awesome.
that was.
Did not kill the knights. Yeah, the knights
Nope.
are stuck.
That's really bad.
Ooh.
Oh, and there it is. There is the genius.
The hindered
Right.
hindered flank charge
Well-
from a 12 attack unit that hits on 4s. What do they hit on?
Yeah, so
They
it's
hit on force. Oh, yeah, you're
as we
correct.
talked about, it's a
Yeah.
flank, but it's a who cares flank. And
Yeah, with
now
no-
and now that regiment
no
has its flank
rush
out to
at
those Elohi.
Right.
SpaghettiOs.
Alohi won't be hindered.
Yeah, well, he won't be hindered. Yeah, because your
No,
flank
they
is
will
hanging
not.
out of that pond.
I still
Oh,
wasn't
yeah,
a
so he's hit-
professional person, and I deal with that every day.
Checking
And
the
the-
link.
The big trouble for me here with the dwarf is that little cancer growing in the corner is only going to get worse. Like that is now a route in to the battle
Yep.
line that needs
is
to be addressed. And
Yeah.
anything that turns to face it is turning its flank or back towards those threatening center units.
Yep.
Um,
The flying,
Yeah.
threatening center units.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So the Dwarf Lord on large beast that just picked up those panthers pretty much can't turn around and go rescue the other one. He's got to keep staring down the rest of the Basilian line.
and that
sure
for
does.
me is why it's tough for when you do a refused flank, I tend to try and imagine the units that are going down that board edge need to be able to push and survive themselves. They need to
Right.
be able to clear out what's in front of them. Oftentimes they're almost your best units
Now,
because they have to move forward and they have to not get stuck and hold the entire line up. That's your pushing part. And
now,
in this
my-
one, his pushing part was 2 regiments of ironclad, and that just feels rough.
Yeah. Yes, it
Bad
does.
enough.
I'm thinking to myself here, this is interesting. So that's the other dwarf lord down on the bottom there, behind Julius.
Mhm.
So I'm wondering, since he turned him that way and he beat that unit, so now the Elohi probably have to pull the trigger somewhat, or
Yeah.
did he face the front for the swordsman? Can the swordsman just charge him and hit him?
So what I think
Well,
he
he has
did
nimble
is
too, though.
he's out of arc of the Elohi, so the
Mhm.
Elohi can't charge him. So he's facing back towards the Ironclad.
That's exactly
Yeah.
what he did.
Okay, there
Yeah.
we go. So the trigger pull right there. Well, I was just thinking
Yeah.
to myself, like, if he doesn't pull the trigger with the Elohi, then he has that dwarf lord just staring at him from the side. So
Yeah.
I didn't know. If
Well,
he
and
charged
yeah,
him.
and that's the thing. Like you can point the dwarf lord to them, but a battle line that fast coming up on the bottom of turn 3, they're not going to be there on turn 4. They're going to be across the table hitting something. So
Yeah.
you might as well turn and face where they're going to go.
Yeah, what
And
I would
give-
actually do
Give
is
swordsman a flank. What are they going to do, right?
Exactly. Yep,
Yeah, who
exactly.
cares?
Yep, that's
And
exactly what I'd be like.
speaking
Go
of-
for it, bro. They're not coming
Speaking
off
of,
the
there
hill.
it is.
So who cares?
Yeah.
Welcome back,
Yeah,
Bob.
but
Now he's
the
stuck.
key there is that the dwarf lord becomes much less of an offensive weapon once those swordsmen take his thunderous.
And they're going
Agreed.
to, almost certainly.
Sure.
Even just do 12 attacks. They wound on 6s.
It's a flank, right?
Yeah, it's a flank.
Yeah, it should
Is
be
it?
a flank.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's a flank.
Oh, he did turn him then.
Yep.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, because next turn he wants to be able to just run away and hit something else.
Right.
Um,
I mean, if he can get a flank or something into the Aloha, if they don't, well, no, they're going to break that.
Oh, they're going to destroy that.
Uh,
That unit's doomed.
if he can even see the Aloha now. Oh, well, yeah, if he's facing towards their back.
But then where do the Alohi go?
There you go.
I mean,
right. Which way do they face to avoid getting ball tapped by something and put on? the
if
ground
I'm
for the rest of
looking
the
at
game?
it correctly, now that ironclad horde moved up, if he breaks that unit, he could probably just turn around the face of the dwarf lord and not even get rear charged and not worry about it.
Agreed.
And then just fight that out.
Oh, he's going in on the other side, too.
Yeah,
Now is the turn.
trigger
It
pull.
is the bottom of turn 3. Turn 3 is the turn when
Yeah.
shit happens, and if you're alpha striking, that's when you're ready to go. So
Yeah. It's interesting. We were like, why didn't he send everybody? And on
Now
this
we're-
side of the table,
in hell.
things seem to be working out.
well, it's you either send everyone or you send an advanced force that starts nibbling, and he sent the start nibbling because it was protected.
I was ready to say the interesting
Right.
thing is that he sent those forward, and I was like, okay, we're not pulling the trigger, but there really wasn't that much reprisal, was there?
No.
So you're like, all right,
That's
but
the joy of playing
it's-
dwarves.
it works out so well because if Julius breaks the Lord in this combat turn, he's just turns and he's at the perfect place to just be like, here we go. Down the whole flank.
yeah, and sending in just enough like that, presents opportunities. The dwarf player's like, well, I gotta take that flank, but it really just breaks his lineup, and gives gaps for the Basilean player to slip into. All right, bottom of turn 3. So we think those were what, the Panther Lancers up top
That's what it
that
looks
came
like.
in against Earth
if I-
Elementals
Yeah. Down off a hill.
down off a hill. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's
I still haven't figured out what's between the house and the forest. I see
Right.
units, I think, but I do not know what they are.
Yeah, there's a couple of Basilean units there towards the top of the table.
I think it's Alohi and Knights. I think it's the second Alohi and the second Knight regiment.
That's over between on the far side, huh? That would explain why he's controlling all that board space.
Yeah.
Right.
It's hard to tell because I'm looking for a second pair of wings on
Wings.
units because they're so
Of
bright.
wings, yeah.
I'm like, I think I
Right.
got this. I can't tell.
the thing is there's not a lot else that doesn't hit.
Right.
There isn't like a big spearman horde or something sort of just taking up space, or the 3 paladin foot knight kind of stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
He's got his swordsmen, we know where they are, and they charge the dwarf, and everything else is fast and hits.
Everything else hits the go button.
So whatever is in that gap is fast,
It's gonna hurt
projects
them.
threat,
Yeah.
and hits.
Yeah.
Good for him.
This is a game of a bag of hammers against a bag of anvils.
Right. Well, bag of anvils, defense 6. Everything on the other side is defense 5. and also moves 10 and also hits hard. So when the dwarves
Right.
counterpunch, it's more like,
Here
No,
comes
I
the
mean-
grumbling.
yeah, exactly. This is annoying. Oh, well,
The-
boys, it was nice serving with you.
The revisionist history where Panther Lancers are suddenly defense 5.
Wow, you can't have everything.
But it's
Generalities, Britton. Generalities.
I'm very
right?
curious to see what the 2 steel behemoths do, and what they start to add to this going forward.
Any damage to Lohi, those steel behemoths just with their shooting, because they're defense 4, can start to really hurt.
But if he commits them into combat and he's running them, holding hands, running into the same units, I mean, they'll even hitting on 4s, they'll stomp someone out.
As they do.
Unless you just roll 1s for your number of attacks and everything, like I always do. Or blades.
It's even then. There's still a steel behemoth does 7 wounds.
Yeah, it's gnarly.
Right. It does 6 to 8 every single time. That's all it does. Never less, never more. I mean, you really got to flub it.
So those are knights going into Feyboard.
Yeah, I think so.
Looks like.
In the center of the table there,
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm not going to lie, half the fun of this is trying to figure out what these things even are.
Yeah. And Britton, to your point, it's the dwarf player now has got to chew through all that nerve and all those units to try to get up to where the objectives are.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
We'll even see, I mean, he's still moving stuff in. We'll see what the dwarf army looks like after this turn.
yeah, true.
You know, like, if I'm seeing it right, I think his horde will definitely be there.
Right, because nothing's
Sure.
touching it
And
yet.
I don't see the flank units on our far side. Like,
Yeah.
I don't feel like those are necessarily going away. That's steel behemoths and Earth elementals.
If that's the formation, even charging off the hill into them, it would normally be super rad. But they hit on 4s, so you're like, cool,
Right.
bring it in. Yep.
I don't know if you can see it, but if Julius doesn't kill the large beast too, the other king on large beast probably has a rear on.
Yeah.
Which could be the safe charge if the Elohai do have to turn and face.
It's true.
If they turn to face him, I'd
There's a lot
absolutely
of
do
options
that.
here.
I'd be like, hell yeah.
It's a really good
And you're
spot
getting
to
the rear
have
on
a
Julius, right?
14-inch nimble guy.
It's going to be the best chance you have.
Right.
Oh wait, I mean, unless if he does take at least a wound, though, he loses that Thunderous too. That makes it a lot worse because that defense 6 on Julius is just brutal. Like, he didn't quite need that. They were like, yeah, whatever.
He's 315 points.
He is.
So
He's a
rolling
lot.
dice now.
So is a
Things are
vampire lord on
happening.
a dragon.
And one of those units is good.
Well, that was rude, but I accept that. I love my vampire lord.
Can't quite tell what's happening. Looks like he's
Think-
going from right to left.
Yeah. I think starting up at the top and working our way down. And that little in-room camera is chug it.
Oh yeah,
I think I can.
it's wheezing.
Like I said, I don't know how many wounds Julius has done to that dwarf lord, but I'm curious if he'll. I don't know where the other characters are because you can't really obviously see it very well, but it'll be a very smart move if he tries to take out that dwarf lord first, so that he loses in firing over there,
Right.
just in case.
Yeah, at any moment, some unit from the Basilian side is going to do something we think is really stupid, and then realize Garrick's just standing there, getting in the way.
Yeah. Right. True.
It's going to be like one of those cartoons where the really strong flea like flips the. You just have no idea why this unit is having
I
trouble.
hope, I hope when that happens, the whole entire screen just suddenly clears up and has beautiful resolution as he rolls the dice and just punches him in the face. You're like, yes.
Right.
I always have a bunch of trouble fitting. This is my problem with most of the dwarf list, and it's sort of a good problem to have. But you look through it and you say, "This is so good. This thing is so good. This thing is so good," and then you have a 4,000 point list. So you are always leaving like efficient, good units at home, and it's just picking which ones you're not as good at using. And for me, that's Garrick. Like Garrick never makes it into my list because there's just too many other good things to put in.
I mean, really, I just
Yeah.
scrolled Dale's list basically.
I'm a believer now. I used them all last year. Took him to Masters. He's money.
And
Never
and
leave
that's
home
one
without him.
like I'm not arguing that. I'm just
Yeah,
arguing
right.
that like I can't use him as well, and I can never seem to fit that much in for what he does.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think this game also is actually I really like this game because like certain other games like War Machine and stuff, it was like this is probably the list that you take and it's going to be the best you get for like this caster and you should do that. But in this game, it's like, well, what play style do you personally like? Like, do you feel comfortable using this many shooting units or do you want more combat? And like they're both okay.
Right.
You can
Agreed.
do there's no this is the dwarf list. This is the undead list you play if you want to like they don't really have that as well. And I love that.
Yeah, sorry, Mike, but we also are. I'm also a member of the West Coast anti-sharpshooter mafia.
I understand.
They just don't make it in.
Right. I totally get it.
Yeah, that's strange to me. I'm used to seeing like 3 units of them just gunning me down like I'm Tom Cruise in Last Samurai.
I mean, I will admit that it's multiple or none. If someone
Yeah.
brings like one regiment of
Oh,
sharpshooters,
yeah,
it's
absolutely.
rookie move. But
Yeah, we doing there.
Absolutely.
Right.
Just go 15 shots. Just don't bring them.
So we get a great close up on a bag of chips here, I think.
I like it. Don't know what
someone
kind they are, but now I'm interested.
someone online is laughing that I said dwarves are efficient, but when you look at, and this is one where like oftentimes dwarf players only play dwarves and they're always looking at the grass is greener issue, and when you play other
I feel
armies,
attacked.
when you play other armies, you look at things like Faber, you look at things like battle drillers,
Yeah.
you
Sharpshooters.
look at all of these different efficient,
No worries.
kings on large beasts. You look at even the Berserker Brock heroes, like all of these different types of things. You're like, they're so good. They're so like they just do exactly the job you want them to do.
Right.
It's just the rest of the army going 4 inches is what
Yeah.
makes
I
it
mean,
really tough.
Straight dwarf
Yep.
players like to just play dwarves. They're definitely not as weird as Ratkin players, but there's
I appreciate that.
they're the y'all are broken.
You're a Kingdoms of Men player now, Greg.
I
You're
am.
fighting
I
the
had
good
to-
fight.
I had to unbreak myself.
Joey, I feel like you just play like 9 factions.
I do.
That's what I'm doing too. It's great.
Why get good at one when you can be average at all of them? Is my
Why-
style.
Exactly.
Like I said, I've started playing 5 Gladestalker Sylvankin, so like I need to give people breaks and be like, here, you can play my Trident ones.
So we're running through. I mean, the combats are happening.
They're just
None
going.
of the dwarf units are being picked up.
He got
Does
the
not appear so.
dwarf on large beast at the bottom, right?
How can you tell?
Did he?
It looks like it's still there.
No, it's still there. I don't think he's rolled that combat yet.
There's a bottle.
Yeah, I mean we are in a
Oh,
lot
it's
of
a-
combats right now.
Yeah, maybe. He did kill it.
Yeah, I only
And
see
he
the
turned
one.
in. Yep. No, I got you. Yeah. Oh.
Oh boy.
Well, if he did, why is he still facing that way?
How can you tell?
Maybe
Right.
that's just the exact shape of the bottle is covering what I thought was a unit.
I don't know.
I should be able to see his wings, right? Because he's going to be facing down the table.
Unless he's turned all the way around to face the other dwarf lord and large beast, anticipating a
Right.
charge from him. Maybe. Or maybe they haven't done that combat yet. Camera's a little choppy.
That camera
A
is
little bit.
smoking.
All right. Is that our route roll?
Checking to see if something's inspired, looks
All right.
like.
I think.
I'd say that dwarf lord's still there.
Yeah.
Dwarf lord is still there, yeah, because he just
Yep.
did the inspiring
Okay.
check. So that picks up a regiment of dwarf
Ironclad.
infantry. They got
Yep.
flank of ironclad. They got flank charged by a Lohi.
There we go. Meanwhile,
Swordsman in the flank of a dwarf lord on large beast. Doesn't reform the Elohi at all.
I think they're trying to figure out where the dwarf lord is pointed
Yeah, that makes
exactly,
sense.
so that they
Mhm.
can do
Oh,
some
right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Where does he
I
want to
think
be?
if the swordsmen are on the hill, they might block line of sight, and that's what they need to check.
That could be.
Or
Yeah.
depending on how close they are, we can't really tell obviously from this like angle. But if they were close enough where he couldn't quite fit in front, that would be neat. Doubtful, but neat.
Could be.
Right.
Right, because the Dwarf Lord and Large Beast is only height 4.
Yeah.
He's on a big beast, but he's still a short dwarf.
All right, there we go.
Okay.
Okay, so he's just trying not to give their charge.
All right, so presenting a flank to the Dwarf Lord, but not a rear, and looking across the table.
What? Okay.
Probably can still see the flank
It's
of the
The
horde.
other
The flank of the
dwarf
horde,
on
right?
beast.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got to be facing the top part of the table. He can't be facing the other way, right? That'd be insane.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there we go. I can see him a little clearer now.
Giving his
That would be front, probably.
flank to the other ironclad, but I guess who cares? Because the ironclad again are going to flank him. Again, they're going to hit on 5s. Again, they're not going to do much.
Yeah, no. Oh,
Right.
yeah. And he'd get in the side, 24 attacks. So it with 8.
Back and forth and back and forth. There we go.
Turn all the way around.
There's
to put
no
him
other
up.
ironclad left to hit them, right?
That's what I'm
That is-
saying.
Horde. Yeah,
Because
and
they're
it,
only
and,
defense
and it doesn't
for
have the
the
arc.
dwarf and the
Yeah, I don't think.
Yeah,
that's
no,
I
that's
think
it.
The Horde doesn't have the arc at all.
Yeah, that's it. You're right.
And the horde is
Horde is
he is
ciphering.
now making the bet that the horde will never turn that far over because of what's in
Yeah.
front of it. So
Agreed.
he's now just
That's-
trying to wrap up that side.
Yep.
Right. And it's possible that like there isn't enough like if the Dwarf Lord there is now in the front of those Alohi, he
It
might
is.
not be able to actually get in between the swordsman,
Right.
and the Alohi
Yeah.
to fit. Yep.
That's it.
So that's
Wow.
sacrificing a charge next turn to deny his opponent a grounding charge on his turn.
Mm-hmm.
And like normally for the dwarf player, you would be okay with delaying on a side like that, but I don't see any help coming.
No.
No.
All the units that would give help are all lumped on the other side of the table.
Oh yeah, I definitely think Basilia players taking that whole side. I mean, that Dwarf Lord's still alive.
Wait for it.
I don't
Right.
even.
Man, I
Yeah.
hope they get thirsty soon.
Right?
Oh yeah.
So is this now top of 4? Have we moved on to top of 4?
I don't know.
Or have we not finished those last couple of combats?
It-
It
trying
looks
to
like
see-
It looks like top of
He looks
four.
like he's starting to move, so maybe.
Yeah.
they-
Wow.
Okay.
so that is top of turn 4. That means the Dwarf Lord and Julius combat continues. And that also means that those knights didn't pick up that initial unit of ironclad that they charged either.
Well,
Yeah,
if
that's
they've lost their Thunderous, they're just
be a giant slap
continuously.
fight for the rest of the
Right,
game.
they're Yep.
At least they have Dread.
At least they have dread. So that means the Dwarf Lord on Large Beast now is just going to run away from those swordsmen and recharge those knights, probably.
Julius. I like the rear charge on the knights. The Aloha can't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're facing the wrong way. I mean,
Yep.
you know, it's another 2 turns, but if you're a dwarf player, you have a target-rich environment right now.
Uh-huh.
You have a lot of fires to put out.
The other
Situations
dwarf
like
lord-
this is why you don't sacrifice battle drillers early.
Right.
Yeah, and then I'm still curious. I haven't been able to tell. I can't tell if the steel behemoths are in combat or if they're still just lurking.
Yeah, that's a shame. Once again, it's
This-
the
This would be a nice
Camera a
time
little
to
higher.
turn and just go open fire.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just
I
start
mean, this
melting
is
crows.
the Kings of War. It's a peace trading game. It always
Oh, yeah.
looks worse for you at the beginning of your turn.
Right.
And
Right.
this near side is very bad for the dwarves. There is some potential nastiness you can do if that king can get into the back of the knights and start causing trouble. But it's really about like what can the dwarves pick up this turn.
This is a situation where I feel withdraw going away is most impactful because that large beast can probably see the rear of the Alohi, but I don't think he can get there without withdraw.
Right.
Because if the ironclad could move back 3.5 inches, there'd be enough of a gap for the large beast to be able to slide through it.
Now at that point, too, is he going?
Oh, he sent the large beast into the front of the Alohi.
It's not a legal charge.
Can You can't do that, right?
No.
Did he
Yeah.
skip over the swordsman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He can.
Yeah, he touched
Well,
the
he's-
corner and then picked up and placed to the middle.
He's
That should
nimble,
be
right?
fine.
He's nimble.
You got to
Yeah,
fit.
But don't you have to maintain contact with the initial point of contact? So if he touched
Yes.
the corner, he's got to try.
That's literally impossible for a base smaller than the target.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you'd have to.
I don't think he teleported.
Okay.
He hit their
can't tell if-
corner,
I can't tell if
and
he
he
can,
is no
if
longer
there's enough
touching their
room.
corner.
Exactly. Right. I think
Unless the charge rules are so different in 3.5, and I'm getting them confused.
No, it just depends. This is a camera angle thing, I would say. Is
Agreed.
that if there's plenty of room there, that the dwarf, it's not teleporting over the unit, it's just sliding to the middle,
I mean, they're there, so we can trust them.
then
Yeah,
that's fine.
Know
True.
that, right?
True.
We
True.
hope.
They are
It's
playing in the
interesting
Masters.
though. Is that
Correct.
the?
So.
I don't know if that's is that the best move? I think I would have thrown that king and large beast into the rear of something else.
Just
into
break it.
the rear of the knights.
You
and
got
pick
to
'em
you
up
got to
and
remove
free up your
units
unit.
and then
The
turn
Aloha,
and
they haven't been
threaten.
damaged yet, right?
Nope.
No.
No.
Yeah,
No,
so
but
you're
they're
saying-
also facing nowhere.
Yeah.
Right. There's
So
they're not a threat to anything for another turn.
Yep.
That's
So,
true.
Not knowing how many
we-
wounds are on stuff, it's tough too. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we don't even know if they even need to threat anything right now, or if they're doing fine in that regard.
Right.
or if they're Panther Lancers at the bottom that he's confident he'll kill now.
Maybe.
With just the we might be ragging on the camera quality or the bandwidth or the camera angle, but I do want to thank Bob and Jam for setting up the camera and streaming
Yeah,
this for us
absolutely.
so that we
Oh yeah,
we can watch them. A little bit of Kings of War is better than nothing, and we are doing our best, folks, to figure out which unit is which. Hopefully, everybody watching at home can follow along with the action of the game. It's a really good game. These guys are playing really well, I think, and
I love it.
having a great time here watching.
Oh yeah, they're both
So-
definitely still in it, thinking it
So
out.
thanks, Bob. Appreciate it.
Man.
In the middle of trying to run a
More than
tournament, you
welcome.
guys are, you guys are taking the time to do the streaming yourself, which like I've never done that. I've been like, nah, fuck that. I'm a TO. I don't have time to sit around and jabber jaw about the games.
Have that crap.
Right. So this is now top of turn 4. I feel like it still might be a little early to start talking about who's got the edge in the scenario, or do we feel like the amount of ground that the Basileans took is still giving them an edge? It seems like the dwarves have kind of made it to the center of the table.
Yeah. I'm also just once again, I'm just curious to see, because we can't really tell as well. I'm curious to see what the Earth Elementals and are doing. Like if they're going to break everything this turn and then they're free to start moving again, that's going to be a lot. Have dice rolls.
Dice run. Does he still have anything not in combat that can shoot, or are we watching a melee?
If I'm seeing this correctly, I think he has one of the steel behemoths in the center and possibly one up there with the Earth Elementals.
With the Earth Elementals, yeah. Fighting off like Panther Lancers or something in that forest.
Yeah, and like I said, that's the thing. If he breaks everything over around that forest and he can turn, he's still got another 2 turns to get in there and get towards those objectives and such. So we really don't know yet.
Right.
Oh yeah. Trying to see if things are getting picked up.
Okay, so that was the Dwarf Lord putting some wounds on Julius.
That combat's still going. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Love to see it. All right.
And he did not kill them.
He did not get the knights. Okay.
that's the hands of sorrow.
Yep.
Why am I alive?
Yep. So the gamble
I've
of
seen
not
that
sending
with
the other
Rossi.
Dwarf Lord in doesn't necessarily pay off.
Nope.
So now instead of guaranteeing a pickup on that unit, he has traded that for grounding Alohi that weren't threatening anything next turn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that do we think a Dwarf Lord kills Alohi in 2 turns?
No.
3?
Nope. He only has
If
7
it-
attacks,
If he had
Yeah.
gotten the flank, he could
so
have.
he only does 4 wounds a turn. So like, and with
Well, yeah,
Iron
so-
Resolve, he'll be in there
And the
all
live
day.
resolve it.
And he
Yeah.
has wounds too, so he lost his Thunderous too, right?
Oh yeah.
He's
Yeah,
winning
okay.
on twos
Yeah.
anyway. The
Yeah,
Thunderous
either way.
isn't super important.
Yeah, he's
I
crushed
love
one.
wounding on 2s.
Right. But either way, it's 4 wounds a turn,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
it's
But the Basileans are Crush 2. He took the Crush 2 upgrade, so the Defense 6 on the Dwarf Lord.
Oh no, it's I don't know. I
Still went on 4s. Yeah.
I mean to I'm usually looking to remove units when the grind starts. Do whatever I can to remove the other guy's units as opposed to like making sure I'm touching everybody.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
if I remove units, then I'm removing options.
Right.
Right.
Like, and normally when you're facing a bunch of flyers, you do kind of want to make sure that you spread out and like put all up on the ground. But the way he had positioned those Alohi, they weren't looking at anything to threaten
right.
for the next turn. They had kind of made sure that they were in the front of the Dwarf Lord to not give him a really good, juicy, opportunistic charge, but he took it anyway.
Right. And once again, I really wish I knew where Garrick was.
Yeah, that's true. This whole time,
Right.
I have no idea where
I
he is.
have a feeling he's over by the Earth Elementals.
Probably
Yeah,
over there.
which seems I don't know. I would have put him in the line because he puts out fires.
Yeah, just have him
Right.
go.
You can
Just
stick
start-
you can
just
stick
start
him in
adding wounds
between
on.
two of the regiments and just have him come in and add another couple wounds in a combat. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Especially between Ironclad, who have no crush and hit on 4s. Like, he's just great to help.
Yep. And he grounds flyers.
Yeah.
I mean, you go
And-
through the
and they
list
need
of
it.
stuff he does, right?
They need
Yeah,
that
they
help.
do because they don't do anything.
And-
Right.
We're picking up something, I
I
think.
think we're picking up some in the middle, maybe some Knights
Yeah.
or Panther Lancers, maybe in the
Hold,
middle.
please. Drum roll, please.
Enhance.
Enhance. Turn. It is enhanced. Wow.
The middle got a lot emptier.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yay, counterpunch.
That's the power of steel behemoths.
They
Oh, yeah. Getting in
they're
there.
the cause of and the solution to a lot of problems.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed.
This is the thing you sometimes run into with Basilia, which is they're fast, and some of it can hit reasonably hard, not like crazy hard, but then they fold when you come to just hit them back with normal units. They start dropping.
Well, especially with this specific list too, because I mean the Alohi, like all the angels, they just start punching you in the face. But he has a lot of thunderous that once they get hit, they lose it, and they're fighting defense 5 and 6. It's going to be hard to shoot through.
And this is not the list is the list, and it looks a lot of fun to play and has great advantages over stuff.
Oh yeah.
But this is one where you see people oftentimes sort of draft in that slightly solid center of the Ogre Palace Guard.
Oh yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
And this is not me saying should have taken Ogre Palace Guard. I like the list, and I think it does what it's trying to do. But it is, once you crack into it with real units and, Steel Behemoth plus Horde of Ironclad type of thing starts to be real units.
Right.
There's not a lot of nerve there to absorb that.
That and Palace Guard have a very consistent, very nice damage output, hitting on 3s.
Yep.
With that crush
Pretty
too.
reliable.
Yeah, and like they can't take away your crush. So, and if you have like a Bane Shank guy, they're good to go all game.
Looks like we've advanced to bottom of 4, back over to the Basilean turn.
And it is confirmed that Dwarf Lord is still alive over on the near flank.
It looks like it. I see a little wound marker behind him.
Yeah.
There he is.
Hero status on that, bro. Because if Julius was free, a
Oh
turn
my
ago,
god! Right.
So now I guess we're quite literally just seeing what you were talking about, where at the beginning of the turn it looks really rough, then you get through his turn. It looks like that Steel Behemoth's just sitting in the middle, just staring at everybody, ready to go.
Right.
Beautiful. You love to see it.
That being said, is there a way for just this turn? So this is turn 4. He's got 2 more nominally, maybe 3, but let's say two more turns after this.
Right.
And if the Basilian player can't remove either the regiment or the Dwarf Lord on the near side, it's going to be hard to start rolling up a flank in time, right?
Oh yeah.
So
Julius
I
has
was
to get the kill here.
right. So
that dwarf lord is just doing everything for this with holding up a 315-point angel character.
right, which
Good
also
on him.
agreed. And so I was, 5 minutes ago, I was critical and saying you should go into the rear of that other unit and destroy it. But If the idea is just to hold the flank while he rolls stuff on the other side, maybe the dwarf player did the right thing, right?
Yeah.
I won't know till it's done. So obviously 2020 will tell, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just going off the grainy images as they come to us. But yeah.
So I think that's maybe Nias going in the middle there.
Uh-oh.
Oh yeah, he's rough.
And I think maybe is the other Steel Behemoth still staring down whatever that final remaining Basilean unit up by that wall is?
Yeah, I believe the Steel Behemoth is still. Both of them are still alive and look probably fine.
Right. But yeah, looking at the one on the wall or by the wall.
Yeah.
Looks like there's some Panthers alive up there too.
Yep.
Up
Which
on the
is kind
hill.
of surprising. Not on the hill in front of the Steel Behemoth.
Yeah.
Something's there, yeah. I mean, hitting on 4s I always get nervous about because I always think I'm going to do great, and then it just goes so sad. Something barely lives. I get upset. Now they've run away.
And we're seeing the King on Large Beast do sort of what King on Large Beast do. 175 points, 15, 17 nerve, self-inspiring, so they don't go anywhere.
Yeah, that's defense 6, man. It'll get you.
Mm-hmm.
So you look at them and you think, I'll get through that in 2 turns. and it always tends to take 3.
Yep.
Or 6.
Depending.
Fine, I'm not traumatized.
But right now that one in the bottom is hero moment, holding up almost double its points.
That's what, doing everything he needs to do basically by just existing. It's beautiful. That, and without Julius running around with his combat thing, it's also that he's keeping that dread away.
Mm-hmm.
Which is excellent. I mean, the 1 point, a lot of times people are like, whatever, but
no, it matters.
It matters.
Yeah.
I mean, a point of dread or a point of brutal is like 3 attacks.
Oh yeah, no, it's beautiful.
After all said and done.
It's 4 dice versus defense 4 if you hit on 4s. Like you just a third of a shield wall.
Yeah.
For a 10-point roll.
It's rather good.
Yeah, when you first start playing this game, it doesn't seem that impressive. But then after you've played 5 or 6 games and you think back about how many nerve checks you missed by 1, and you were like, oh shit.
Right.
Yep. You run into that like strange case where someone's like, oh, I have brutal 2 on this. You're like, what?
You son of a bitch.
Dude.
It's like bringing an extra unit to the combat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's 100% where I found myself, especially if I'm playing a less familiar army. Like you roll that nerve, and then you're like, wait, let me just check that stat line again in case I have brutal. The amount of times I'm like just willing it to be there.
Uh-huh.
Because there's some weird units, like the Earth Elementals having brutal is one of those where you're like, wait, what? Okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
Right. Let's see.
Yeah, Earth Elementals are really good, both in hordes and regiments, because you
Oh,
don't really need the regiments to do anything. If they get into the combat, they'll at least add brutal. So
Right.
it's good.
Right.
Just throw them in there.
they're great at standing in the way though and being like, shoot at me, whatever. I'm a regiment, but I'm defense 6. Suck it.
Right.
Yep.
Can't waver them.
Quite good.
Oh, it feels right.
So I can't.
So if I'm seeing, have we reached the point where all the Basilians are committed at this point? I don't see
Looks
those
like
guys.
I believe so. The low high.
All right.
charge.
We're in.
Vice commenced. So now it's just going to be grind, and see what lives, right?
Yeah, and then I mean, I can't tell quite where the tokens are right now for scoring, but if the dwarf player has enough to turn around and start to move to him.
I don't think. I mean, the 3 in the middle are all up for grabs right now.
Right.
The dwarf player is far away from, like, right now, assuming that
Okay, there we go.
assuming
Are those
Rich doesn't
swordsmen just
lose.
hanging
They're
out
just
there?
Well, they're hanging out next to. They're hanging out next to. I think the dwarven objective that he's trying to go for is right there,
Right.
And so he's got a regiment of nerve hanging out right in front, going, "You're not going to chew through this. Good luck."
There you go.
Right. So right now it looks like if I'm reading the table right, it looks like the Basilian player, Rich is in control here.
Yeah.
From a
From
scenario
an objective
perspective.
standpoint, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and this, I don't know if the UK Masters is like the US Masters in this regard, but sometimes like a small win is perfectly fine and maybe even better for you than a big blowout win in an early turn, because it allows you to maybe duck playing some of the very best players for another round or two. You don't necessarily want to come out like blackjack somebody in round one and I guess face Tom Robinson in turn two or somebody like that and get utterly stomped. You're like, no, I want to play on like table 5.
It is
Right.
sort
The
of
whole
though
event.
it is sort of though the difference between a 64 player Masters and a, I think, 16 or 18
16.
or something.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say, Brenton. There's,
Although I think this one got bigger. Maybe I'm wrong.
22.
22.
22.
Yeah, because they have the people that qualify, and then you guys do like best in army players or something like that.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why Rich is here. Rich was the top placed Basilean player in the UK.
Cool.
But you don't.
Does one of you have a dog, by the way?
Yes, that's
Just
me.
made a sound. All right, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't, stroking out.
I've got 2 healers, and they hate movement.
Good stuff.
What were you saying, Brenton?
Oh, I was
Sorry.
there's like 28 armies. So it wasn't every best in army came.
No, it's just the top 6 scoring. If you go onto the UK ranking sites, the factions, they take the top 3 scores from each faction per player to rank them, and then they rank them in order of the amount of those scores. So the top 6 got invited, but we had 2 dropouts. Well, 3 dropouts actually. 2 people that qualified in the top 16 dropped out, and 1 person that qualified for a faction dropped out. But luckily, the capacity at Mantic HQ is 22, but somebody jumped the gun with the Masters and invited 24 people. So luckily, those 3 dropouts worked in our favour.
Right.
No one's in the car park.
Yeah, exactly. Especially not in Nottingham in January. It's like Wisconsin.
That's fair.
I went to Foundry, I think it was, in January, which is just in an old farm building.
Hell yeah.
And was just inside in a giant winter coat because I'm from California. And they were all just laughing at me.
Just playing in a shed, hanging out in Leatherface land. Good for you.
But
yeah, the Foundry HQ is about 5 miles down the road from where they're playing now. And so is Games Workshop.
Great.
But
Oh.
Did they do it?
he
They're
killed the
free.
Ironclad, and now he's turning in.
They did it.
And it
Right.
took 3 combats, right? Turns 2, 3, and 4,
Yeah.
but they did it.
Yeah.
And this is going to be that type of scenario where you just fight really hard, and then it feels like in that final turn, you drunkenly stubborn
Get wherever
stumble
you can to get
towards
to the
an
Oh
objective.
boy. So
here we go.
Julius rolls. Julius hits
Julius.
with all of them.
Oh god.
What? Oh, that's bad news for the dwarf.
Yes. We have and little nerf check.
Right. Turn 5 or 6, your unit lifts its head up out of the bloody mess that it's made and looks around, like a drunk stumbling out of a bar, trying to remember where they parked, looking for the nearest objective to stumble onto.
And this is where this type of Basilian list has that sort of, I don't want to go in and say advantage as much as just it's in this late stage when they lift their head up out of the drunken brawl, they fly.
Yeah, that's the thing. They lift their head up out of the drunken brawl and then they move 20 inches.
Right.
You're like,
And dwarves sort of look up and be like, in 3 more turns, I can get to that objective.
exciting.
Now it looks like they've moved on, but that dwarf lord is still there fighting Julius.
Still there.
I know.
Yeah.
It's got a rear on the knights then.
It does.
They can
Oh, but they're
just
not playing with draw.
wait.
They are
It
playing.
doesn't matter.
All right.
It doesn't matter. You can still turn 90 degrees and go in.
He's a 50
Oh,
mil
because he
base.
doesn't have to withdraw, right?
Yep.
Right.
Sneaky,
And
sneaky.
I ran
and
into
you-
that in our local
Oh,
league where we had a big
Oh, yeah,
vote.
he's type 4, right?
Yeah.
Oh, so you can see over Julius.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, that's in my head. I was like, oh, they're the same height, and that's because I'm.
So can the other dwarf. The other dwarf has a flame. That
Yep.
You could take if you wanted. Assuming the bottom dwarf has to pass a headstrong or something first.
Sure.
At least, hey man, at least he gets a headstrong.
Agreed. So this is the top of 5.
This would be top of 5.
Wow. Grind, grind, grind.
Grind, grind, grind. Yeah, there's way more units left on the table than I thought
Yeah.
we would have.
Yeah, me too.
I'm still trying to figure out what the status on the Earth Elementals are, like what they're doing. Are they
Just
still
moshing.
fighting, or are they
They're
just
not dying.
going to start moving?
Right.
They are.
Yeah,
they
that
are
is
moshing.
that is the question though. Turn 5, turn 6, you got 1 turn. So unless he clears something out where he can move up and sit on
Right.
another objective, well, actually, all that he would be doing is he's denying Rich the 2 points. You don't get 2 points for getting
Right.
getting that one right, but-
I just if they cleared up the combat over there, I don't know if they'd even have enough turns to get back to the center.
So now he's pointing and saying, "Is it possible for me to go and charge into the rear of this?" Hopefully, he's saying that. Maybe he's not.
Hopefully,
Power move. Just do it.
That seems rude, actually.
feel the fear.
I got it. I did this. It's done. What? Can you show me how you did that? Nah, I didn't mark any of my units. I'm sorry. It was totally legal.
I already turned them. Whatever, dude. It probably worked
It's, sorry,
out.
dude,
Just
it's
let it
fine.
happen.
Come on.
I'm sure they
It's
can
cool.
see. It's fine.
Right? Don't be a stick in the mud. That being said, after all this talk, we're sure Julius is only height 3?
Yeah, he is. He's in the low hunt. So
Gotcha.
I've been looking over the entire game, just staring at his profile over and over again, and being like, "Yeah,
Well, he didn't take that rear charge.
or
He
the
just kept
flank
fighting
was going
Julius.
down.
Interesting.
Dwarves don't care about that 9 unit. That's 2 opportunities he's had to take it off with a rear charge with the Dwarf Lord on large beast. And he's been like, no, they're fine.
Are we
It's
still now?"
They can
I
do
was
whatever.
unsure if those are the Gur Panther Knights or like Paladin Knights.
Oh.
but I mean, it
I
is
don't know.
possible
He
they
just did the
missed
hands
that
throw
they
up, I don't know.
could do that charge.
Fast-playing players picking up stuff on that far side, it looks like.
Oh, that's a lot of dice he's rolling right there.
Well, he's probably got
some
flanks
steel
and stuff
behemoth.
with the.
Is that
Yeah.
the behemoth just going?
Or hordes of elementals like
In the
18
flank.
dice.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, Earth Elementals are nice and tanky, but they do hit on 4s, so in the front they don't do a ton of wounds. But if you get them in a flank, then they're a real hammer.
We're both elemental units all the way up there.
I believe they were next to each other. Yeah.
Yeah, so that along with the steel behemoth, we're looking at 700-ish points.
Maybe
Yeah.
unless
In
they
that
were on the other
forest.
side of the horde in the middle. I'm not sure.
Fighting is happening.
I think it's happening in the middle.
Can't quite tell what's attacking what.
We're probably going to see several units picked up this turn, so then it'll just be us trying to figure out what's still on the table.
Right.
It's feeling like the doors are at a pretty good advantage here, though.
They seem to be.
If they've cleared everything threatening his 2-pointer, they've got a commanding lead on the middle. With the horde there and the steel behemoth starting to just chew.
Right.
It's taken a lot of turns for the Basilia to start trying to escape this bottom side.
Yeah.
It's like every time they sort of start to turn, there's a dwarf, biting their ankles and dragging them back into the fight, which feels very thematic, but
Clearly.
Is dwarves biting ankles thematic?
It's as high as
That's
they
all they
get.
can reach.
Rossi has already written 40,000 words on ankle-biting dwarves.
Oh,
It
God.
was mostly kneecapping dwarves, but that's much more heroic.
Sure.
Right.
Well, the Elohi fly, so they're up off the ground. So really, the ankle is kind of all you can grab. Really.
That's it.
But when you think about it, like those Elohi have, whatever it is, 4 turns, 4 charges in a game, and like, because you're usually not charging turn 1,
right?
Unless it's a really weird game. They have 4 or 5 charges in a game, usually like 4. And
right. Looks like another unit is
what has
gone.
it been against?
Yeah. Looks like another unit is going on that flank, so it looks like Rob may have an opportunity to run up and at least stand on that far objective, maybe on the last turn, depending.
Mm-hmm.
Can't quite tell how thin it is, but the line is every time Rich picks up a unit, it's a problem.
Yeah. He did start with only 12 drops
moving?
versus 14.
Right.
So he did have, the dwarves that have a 2-drop advantage on him to begin with.
So it looks like Rich is going on his 5th turn, going into the rear of the King on Large Beast.
Pancake.
Not off the hill, right? Well, it depends.
The target's off the hill, so they'll get
the target's off the hill.
Yeah, right. So they'll get the +1. That's going to be a problem.
And they're elite.
Oh, even better.
Yep. Same fight as the Elohi.
Yep, it's going to be a big problem.
So the knights moved up. Did they actually charge something? Are they nicking something in the flank there, or?
Oh, please! It's underwater.
Right.
All right. Refresh. It looks like they may have charged the horde in the flank.
Ooh.
Maybe, but they don't have.
No, maybe not.
Pathfinder. They might have just run into like a dwarf character or a battle trouble or something.
That's true. I don't know that he cares about being hindered. Like, they have to do something.
Yeah.
Unless they're Panther Lancers, and then they're Pathfinder.
Right, and they don't care.
Did we ever find Garrick Heavyhand?
I was hoping this was his moment.
Right?
That and the Knights charge, Garrick hindered.
And that is the end of that.
And we're never seen again. Legend says they are still rolling.
Right.
This day.
Legend says they are still swinging and getting
That's
nowhere.
right.
Garrick has just stopped fighting. He's having a meal. He's bathing.
Making a sandwich, trimming his beard, all that.
Right.
Writing correspondence, journaling. Knights are still just swinging.
Dearest Martha, still being annoyed by knights.
Slow pan over the battlefield, except for it's in black and white, right? My dearest Martha.
Ken Burns. The Ken Burns Zoom.
That's exactly it. Right.
Beautiful.
Fighting on the Basilean front continues.
Trying to see.
Those are being rolled. Can't tell. He's pointing over at the Knights.
I'm almost certain too. Both steel behemoths are still alive, right?
Yeah, that's not surprising.
Chugging along.
Oh,
All right. Julius versus Dwarf
Oh.
Lord.
he's
Some wounds.
it's a bad time for it to freeze.
Oh.
Oh, come on, catch up. Show me what's up.
We get him?
There he
I
is.
think he got him.
He's gone.
Turn
About
5.
There it is.
Finally picks him
Right.
up.
There it is.
There he is.
That's right. Joke's on you. There's nothing else for you to charge because you killed everything else over here.
And you're short.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, the
that
height
too.
3 actually is going
Right?
to be.
You can't see anything.
Can't see over your own knights. Yeah.
Nope. That'd be cute.
Is there
Or
any
on
objective
Elohi.
you can pick up at unit strength 1?
I don't know.
Maybe that would even matter.
I don't think the height's really going to make a difference. The only things blocking him are all speed 10.
So they won't even be there in a minute anyway, right?
Yeah.
Come on, baby. Grind, grind, grind. I'm talking about the camera. There we go. Go. Wow, that's all the dice.
That's
All
definitely
the dice.
or the rear.
Right?
Right, probably swordsman in the rear.
Fives.
Yeah. Right.
I'm still wondering what ended up engaging the Earth Elementals up there, where they've just been locked in combat this whole time.
Right? That they
I
haven't
feel
been
like
able to
that couldn't have been the Gur Panthers this whole time.
I don't know. Like Earth Elementals do 5 wounds
Yeah,
against
about
Gur
that.
Panthers, right?
They
Not
hit with
hard to
what?
see
They,
them
they hit with
do
9
that.
and wound on 2s.
2s. Yeah, I take that back.
Their regiments are 14, 16. And they have brutal also on the elementals.
Yeah, so that should.
When you're being fed one at a time.
Yeah, that could have been like he layered it. That could have been how it
Right.
was. He also
Right.
has the troop that he could have thrown in first to just block.
Sure.
2 troops. Yeah. That's fair.
All right, I think the knights killed whatever they were fighting because they stepped to the side.
Right. And it looks like
That horde has just disappeared.
Yep.
Yeah, that's.
It's too bad they gave him that flank. I mean, I am sure there wasn't a choice or a
Right.
good choice, but
Right.
the fact that they were able to turn and then immediately get a meaty target
Yeah.
is rough. And it does make me wonder, like, where is the battle driller? Where is the Garrick? Where
Right.
are what happened to Faber? Like, these people that could have potentially been in the backfield to protect against that.
Faber was in the scrum in the middle. I don't know
Yeah.
if he's still there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
if
he
he's still there either.
might be dead.
Yeah.
I just felt like when I originally looked at the list, there are a good number of sort of sweepers to sit in the back and,
Yep.
and
Mhm.
stop as the non-flying Basilian units from wrapping through, and
Right.
they did it anyways. So
Yeah.
Maybe
Bad.
they're thinking because you
Thinking
can't
now
withdraw, you
facing
can't.
towards the center, up top.
and there's also a nice little gap for Julius if there's range there to see
Yeah.
through and
Mm-hmm.
come in on something.
Oh, did the other dwarf lord go down?
Yeah.
He did.
Oh, it's bad.
Back
mean,
up the swords to stand on the
Oh, now we're
objective.
turning.
Turn the Elohi to face the middle.
Oh, here
36
He's
comes the
elite
got one turn
attacks.
direction.
36
Yeah.
elite attacks into the back with Thunderous One from the hill is
What'd you gain off that?
unfriendly.
All right, so that is Basileia finally on turn 5, controlling this close flank.
Oh yeah.
I gotta wonder if they thought because you can't withdraw, you can't corkscrew at all. Because like that was completely avoidable.
Twice.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that. I mean, if the intent of if the intent of removing withdraw is to stop corkscrews, then just write the rules so that you stop corkscrews.
Right.
Just say if you're in combat with a unit, you can move around, but you can't charge something else.
You cannot declare a charge, yeah.
Right?
But they
like that.
explicitly do want you to be able to declare a charge because they do not want a situation, and this is just, you have to write all this in, but they
Right.
don't want a situation where one little thing charges your horde in the flank.
Like a BSP
And
or something.
You're standing looking at the entire enemy battle line, and it's like, nope, can't move. There's a dude
Right.
with a flag on your side.
Yeah, right.
Sure.
I get that. I totally get that. Right.
Because that's some that's some old world chicanery that
Yeah.
we're not a fan of.
Agreed.
Some like, let me just move this unit up and angle it in a weird angle, and you have to fight that way.
Right.
The old world.
Let's go fight. Oh, we can't. There's some guy over there at the other end of the line asking for directions or something, so we have to stand here.
Yep.
Making change for the toll booth or some shit.
Do you remember march blocking?
Yes, I remember march blocking. I remember flying like 5 gargoyles behind like a massive unit of Chaos Warriors so that they would never get to me.
Yeah. Yep.
It would
Buddy
just
of mine.
stand around going oogie boogie for the entire game.
A friend of mine played elves, and he would take his 50-point eagle, fly him up, and he on the base he put a pair of orange cones. He said, "This is my safety eagle. Fly over there. Everybody, slow down. Just be safe.
Right.
Right? Slow down a little bit. Safety eagle says slow down.
No running. No running.
That's it."
Twist your ankle charging across the field.
Right. Well, this game is
man.
better than that one. Ooh, another
okay.
unit goes down.
Yeah.
So that's
Is it
probably
gonna be
two
enough?
Panther Lancers, probably.
Right.
Yeah.
So if
So
neither unit,
I think the dwarves
if
may
neither-
have now won the other flank.
right. So if neither side can get their 2-point objective,
Who
does
has
it devolve
two
into a
of
fight in the
them?
middle? Right.
Now we're playing Dominate.
Yep.
Now we're playing
Yeah, but
Dominate.
when I look at who's ready to actually fight in the dominate circle, I see.
The Basilean guy has all of his units pointing in.
Yeah, I see Elohi, Knights, and Julius behind.
Yep.
Lined up and ready to go, and on the other side, I see slow stuff.
Yeah.
Facing the wrong way.
Slow stuff's
Right.
already in the middle, though.
Well,
Because
Right, because if you're the dwarf player, you're
one
like,
more
I'm playing for a turn 7. I need to turn my stuff to walk towards the objectives. But the Basilean player is like, I can turn everything on, and when it gets to the bottom of turn 6, I go take the middle.
oh, the guns.
I mean, if that steel behemoth is pointing at the center too. I mean, he is only speed 5, but the wild charge D3. He might be able to just kind of get in there at the end.
Just get
Yeah,
in
he
and
can
get
get in
away,
there,
right?
but like if he's put like 3 units in there to hold the objectives, the steel behemoth can pick up 1, but that's it.
It's true.
He's still
Yeah.
going to lose on unit strength.
you only need to win by 1, though. Like, I don't know that the Basilians can actually threaten more than 1 token on turn 6. Is the problem.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And that's mostly an angle thing, because I don't know if the Alohi can, like, reach that second token.
Right.
Do we know if the behemoth in the middle is damaged?
I don't
I'm
know.
trying to see if there's any dice or anything next to the minis that would let me know. Right. And then even if it has like 2 or 3 on it, no, behemoths don't care. They don't have TC. Right. But put 7 or 8, and all of a sudden it gets kind of dicey.
All right. I think maybe Nias just went into something in the middle, and
There
now
we
here
go.
comes Julius and
Oh yeah.
the Elohi.
This is turn 6. Here comes everybody.
This is where Nias is just a big bag of dicks.
When's nice, not a big bag of dicks though.
50 mil base, nimble,
Yeah.
nerve of a
Right.
knight regiment.
I want to
defense
know
5.
the exact moments when he is not a big bag of dicks.
When I'm playing Basilians. It's all perspective.
Clearly.
When you're playing against Varangur and they brought 3 lords on Frostfang, it's like, I'll see your Nias and raise you 2 more dudes just like him.
Right.
I actually got to play with Berengar for the first time ever last night, and I will say that Lords on Frostfangs are excellent.
Yes.
I love them.
Did you guys hear about this
Shocking
unit?
analysis.
It's amazing. Why is no one taking this?
Oh man,
Great.
just charging them in. I was like, so this is what it feels like? I was like, this is great.
Right.
It's the easy mode button.
Oh, it's beautiful. Oh, the special character that can fly once per game, also excellent.
Magnilled.
Magnill's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, 2017 called.
Yep.
2018 called.
Charged into a cav unit.
there.
He was
That
he
cav
was
unit
playing
single-handedly. It was excellent.
he was playing a different game in those years, so he doesn't know.
That's right.
Yeah, the thing that's always interesting for me is you say sort of Frostfangs are incredibly powerful, and people are like, yeah, but the rest of Northern Alliance aren't that good. And you're like, okay, but they're also in Varangur. And then people are just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, but if you ignore that also.
Yeah.
It's like we took this incredibly good unit in a bad
Right.
army, and we also put it in a really good army.
Yeah, it was
So-
very, very fun playing them last night. Just like I was like, oh, these Berengar are like super fun to play with, and they have so many options. It's beautiful.
So it looks like we're at the stage of the game where the opponents are talking out, like if I go here and you go there and it goes here and
we're
here it
figuring
is
out
for
our
a
story.
7 and
Right.
right.
How much is turn
Yeah.
7 going to matter if it happens? Or
Yeah,
doesn't?
exactly. Right.
But as long as they do stop at turn 7, not like the first game.
What?
What does
They
that
played
mean?
8 turns
Why?
Somebody-
Well, why would you do that?
What?
because they lost count.
They lost count? Oh my
They
god.
lost
the
count.
Masters.
They thought they'd rolled for turn 7, got turn 7, and played turn 7.
They just went
And
in.
when we actually watched the video back,
Oh.
they rolled for turn 8 and played turn 8. You can hear
Rad.
if you do get a chance to watch it because you can hear me and Steve Hildrew screaming at them.
They can't.
Why are you still playing? This is turn 8. Start playing. And
Oh
the
my
TO
God.
went in, and they were adamant that they were playing turn 6. And I went back on the video,
my God.
replayed it, counted the number of times one of them went up to the table. He went up to the table 8 times. They
Glorious.
played 8, and the problem was one guy had won it on turn 7, and then he lost it completely on turn 8.
I got
Well,
Wow.
what do you do? It's
I
their
don't know.
responsibility to work out how many turns they've done.
My
Yeah,
God.
I'm over here. I'm liking this turn 8. I think
Yeah.
I've talked to Rossi before about like round 7 through 9 of the tournament is my sweet spot.
I'll
Damn
get-
right.
So if I can start getting round 8 and 9 of each game, I'm
coming in
attrition, baby. I'm in.
Right.
It just
I mean-
makes me wonder how many times it's been done when it's not been live streamed.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
high. Glorious.
And like, good on them for still having enough time on their clocks to play an 8th turn.
It's true. Right.
Yeah,
I
that
don't know.
would actually never happen to me because I have trouble making past round 5.
Right.
That's because you're just thinking too much. You're
No,
just
I'm-
thinking it all out.
I'm just slow.
You're just on genius level.
No,
I'm
my-
slow
He's
and
got a
clumsy.
big brain too hard with orcs.
My old
No
Brock
works.
army, it's either won by turn 3 or it's all dead, so it doesn't
Right.
matter.
Right.
They never get to turn 4 or 5 anyway.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had a game where I was like, I wish this could go one more turn. Mostly it's just everyone starts dying at turn 6.
Part of it for me is I have my orc army is 25 mil bases and they're big ass metal models, so it's just
Right.
arm fatigue.
I think
Like moving those hordes is just doing curls, and I'm just
Good
burnt out by the end.
Hey, man,
I
at
think
least
they're
your
done.
work Got in. Yeah, they're done.
Oh, they're
That's
finished.
what we're looking at.
All right.
Bob, do you have any insight on who won?
I'm
No,
gonna
but I will
need that.
find
I'm
out.
gonna need that information.
I know, right?
This might be a tie.
It could be. Yeah. Could be a low scoring.
You get
tie.
one side, I get one side, and then we.
Right?
We kind of pushed in the middle. Yeah.
But the dwarves, yeah, I guess if they contest it in the middle and it's just
The Steel Behemoth should have that one token. I think the Basilians are only on one token because the swordsmen don't count. Neither do the Earth
Right.
Elementals.
Right.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, the
Cool.
biggest
But which
in
ones
the
do the
middle.
dwarves have?
The Steel Behemoth.
So there are 3 in the middle. They have the far one in the middle. It looks like the Steel Behemoth has been 3 inches of that. And I have no idea what's happening in the dead center,
Yeah.
right?
I think there might
And-
be more Basilian unit strength in the middle than Dwarf unit strength.
Oh, I
left
would
in the middle.
imagine so. Right. The stuff that lives on dwarves all has unit strength 1,
Yeah.
right? The units just fall over dead.
Well, we'll wait and see if somebody provides us that information. Other than that, I don't think we are gonna figure it
Right.
out.
There's a lot of speculation I could do, but
Hmm.
what good's it?
So I'm looking here that the next round would start around 10:15, and it's 10:08 right now here. I'm going to imagine that's not accurate information currently.
No.
Well, if we're playing 8 turns,
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so you know.
Yeah, did they roll for turn 8?
The elusive turn 8.
Also, I don't know. I'm super excited that it's UK Masters and then Australian Clash of Kings this weekend.
Yeah, it's a big
And
deal.
Yeah, we've been
There's
looking at
just-
the list for Clash of Kings.
So much good Kings of War being played this weekend, not by me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a fun,
any of us.
you know.
Hey man, I played 3 games last night / this morning.
Yeah, because Australian Clash of Kings is going on as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where they apparently only buy green mats in Australia. Is it because like the shipping is so
35%.
expensive? They'll only ship one color on like a pallet like once a year, and that's all the mats
Are
that are
they-
in Australia.
Are they at least like neoprene mats? Like it's not like the
Yeah.
old already flocked mats.
Okay, the result was 5-2 to Rich.
Yeah, Basilia with the giant win.
All right.
All right,
God.
congrats.
So how do you
Congrats, Rich.
All right.
Because you score the ones that are on your side as well, right?
Oh, do you?
No.
Okay.
No. I thought that was only the opponent scores it.
I see nothing in the pack.
Wow.
Well, that would
Wow,
change.
that
Okay.
was an assumption on my part.
So the
Wow,
swordsmen
so there it
are
is.
picking up that token close to us there. Okay.
Yep.
So that's
Oh,
the difference
boy.
then.
So
That's
Rob's currently just pointed at where he got a double 1 in the combat.
Okay.
That'll happen.
Okay.
Oof.
And apparently he didn't do. He fluffed up his combats in the centre and the flank. In his words,
Oops.
That tracks. Well,
right.
well played game by both of them though.
Yeah,
A lot
clearly.
of fun to watch.
Awesome. All right.
looks like a
And I-
glamorous assistant collecting paper.
Yeah, and I guess you guys, of course, that you're still collecting papers. We don't know who we're watching next, but we will have round 3 streamed.
I'm watching toddler soccer practice next. So I'll be ducking out. My day is starting.
Yeah.
The reason I signed on for the 5 a.m. game is I don't actually have time to do other games during the day. So
Well, it's much
Looks like we got-
appreciated.
Yeah, man.
I'll be back for whatever the 4:45 a.m. game is tomorrow. Is the plan.
Yeah, that is.
So
God.
The final round.
yeah,
can
I'm just
see 8
swinging
a.m.
back in for whoever the winner is.
There you
Oh,
go.
well, listen, as long as this jury rigged computer that I've had to set up keeps on working because the other one died completely.
I just saw like visible horror across Adkins' face. He couldn't hold it back. It was just this like it was like Bilbo trying to grab the ring back.
I've just been psyched to be awake this early. I feel like Adam Sandler and Big Daddy. Hey, you want to go get breakfast at McDonald's? I haven't been awake for that in like, I don't know, 15 years.
Yep. So it looks like next round we got Joey signed up and Mark signed up, and Matt Carmack should be joining you guys to help cover the match.
Lovely.
Get some text and opinion.
Get some
Do we know
text
what
and opinion.
time-ish we're looking at for this?
I have no idea until I've actually been in contact with Janice because, believe it or not, I'm 110 miles away from where they're actually having this tournament.
I mean, I believe you.
Because I'm at home and
Hell yeah.
Which in the U.S. is a morning commute.
Yes, I know.
but I've tried driving around the UK. I know somehow like you guys have lots of roads, but somehow they just aren't as fast as the roads in the US. Somehow I don't know how that happens. It might be
Because
like a metric conversion or something.
We build them really bendy. They sort of meander around miles and miles in the general direction. You know,
Right.
everything the Romans taught us when they invaded, we forgot.
Right.
Straight routes. What are they?
Whereas
I
here in the
think-
States, like back in the 50s, we were like, every highway has to be able to act as an emergency runway just in case a plane needs to land. So they all got to be straight, like 2 out of every 5 miles or something like that.
Yep.
I think in the UK what it was they sort of started out building roads and then discovered alcohol. And it just...
Yeah, that does a lot once you discover that in your life. I'll tell you.
Forget which town the road is supposed to go to, so they keep changing direction every morning, like
Oh, yeah.
which town they're supposed to be heading to.
Okay, right. Well, I'll wrap this one up. I think John will be sending out invites for the next one once she's
Yeah,
done the results.
I
So
think we have a link for round 3, so I'll just get in that, and once I see it come up, I'll be there, I guess.
no
They
worries.
probably got like 10, 15 minutes turnaround before the next round starts.
Cool. Yeah. Should
Awesome.
work out.
All right.
With
Thanks,
All right,
Mike.
guys. Thanks
Okay.
for letting me
Bye.
join you. Take it easy.
And you. I